Just a few tastes left of the holiday weekend, and the Mets are back at Citi Field, where they've had so much success in 2010, 28-12 at home, and one of the bright spots, one of the reasons for the Mets' success, David Wright, hitting .411 since the 30th of May and headed for his 5th consecutive All-Star game. Last week before the break, and the Mets try and finish it hot. At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Cincinnati Reds. Mets baseball is presented in HD by IOTV. Get your HD free with IOTV. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets open their final homestand before the All-Star break, the start of a 3-game series against the National Central leading Cincinnati Reds. The Mets made a roster move before the game today to help their very tired bullpen. Raul Valdez is back from Buffalo to give the Mets an extra left-hander. Fernando Tatis has been placed on the disabled list with a shoulder injury. As far as the Cincinnati Reds are concerned, they are riding high in the National League Central almost exclusively because of their fantastic offense.
Well, their offense, they got a small ballpark in Cincinnati. They lead the National League in batting average, home runs, runs scored, slugging percentage. They're also 4th in on-base percentage. They're a team that can steal bases. There's a lot of ways that they can beat you with their bats. Now, granted, it's a small ballpark. The numbers are a little skewed. They're a better home team, more power. They score a run more per game at home than they do on the road. But that being said, they're a ball club that's 20-17 on the road this year, and like Gary said, they're on top of the National League Central.
Meanwhile, the Mets coming off a 3-4 road trip, one yesterday with a lot of offense, and as usual, David Wright was right in the middle of it. David has just done a phenomenal streak over the last 5 weeks.
Well, David has done one thing. He's gotten rid of that uppercut, that drastic uppercut that he had. He's leveled off his swing, and results are there. 14 home runs, 315, 64 RBI, lead the National League. And, boy, he deserved a late push to win the voting for the start in the All-Star game as the National League's third baseman. He has just all of a sudden turned it on. I mean, that's incredible. Think about it, 129 at-bats since May 30th and hitting over 400. That's not an easy thing to do.
David Wright is in the All-Star game. Jose Reyes, who should be able to start tomorrow, is also in. Mike Pelfrey is not, despite a 10-2 record. He'll go to the mound tonight.
Well, Pelf has had a little bit of a bump, 10-2, hasn't pitched as sharply as he's pitched earlier in the season. He needs to bounce back here. This is a tough lineup for him. A lot of left-hand hitters in this lineup. Joey Votto is one that comes to mind, and Jay Bruce. It's a well-balanced Reds lineup. We'll see what happens with Pelf.
And as far as the Reds are concerned, their scheduled starter, veteran Aaron Harang, had to be scratched a half an hour before the game because of back spasms. That pushes tomorrow's scheduled starter, rookie left-hander Travis Wood, into his second career start tonight.
Well, Wood's coming off that start against the Cubs, where he left the ballgame with a 2-0 lead. 7 innings, 2 hits, 3 walks, no runs. The pitches that came in blew the lead for him. They were his runs charged to him. The Reds wound up winning that game in extra innings, but this is his second career start.
So the 23-year-old from Arkansas faces the Mets on Pyrotechnics night. They're getting those fireworks ready on the roof. Baseball coming up at Citi Field. Distributor of PPG Paint and proud sponsor of the New York Mets. And by Toyota, there are many reasons to buy a Toyota, and now's the perfect time to get yours during Toyota's National Clearance Event. Better seats, lower prices at Mets.com. Tickets for upcoming Mets home games at Citi Field are available for $19. Get your seats direct from the source, Mets.com. A homestand against first-place teams. 3 with the Braves over the weekend, but we start with 3 with the Reds. Mets and Reds. First pitch coming up from Citi Field in just a moment. Tough one in Puerto Rico as last time. Here's the Ford starting lineup for the Reds. All-Star Brandon Phillips leading off. Snubbed All-Star Joey Votto hitting third. And All-Star Scott Rowland hitting cleanup in the middle of the most power-packed lineup in the National League. 102 home runs through their first 83 games this year.
Well, Big Mike coming out here to start tonight. This big, important homestand for the Mets before the All-Star break. You see his numbers right there. Having a little bit of a difficulty right now. I think Gary needs to kind of maybe throw that split finger a little harder. I think he's taking too much off the splitter. We'll see what adjustments he's made in between starts. But he's looking to get back on the winning side of things.
Pelfrey's numbers brought to you by Verizon.
And Alexis Mets defense. Bay, Pagan, Francoeur in that outfield. Cora gets the start at second base. Tejada to shortstop. Ray is still on the bench with that back issue. Right, third. Davis at the corners. Barajas gets the start. Totally out with the pitching change. And you can see Jason Bay. We've seen enough of him. Jason Bay plays an outstanding left field.
Well, Dusty Baker didn't have the horses the last couple of years, but he's got the Reds in first place in the National League Central. First time the Reds have been in first place this late since 1999, and Met fans will remember that year. The Mets and Reds had a one-game playoff for the wild card spot, with the Mets winning at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. Brandon Phillips will be going to his first All-Star game. He was moved into the leadoff spot 10 games ago and has been hitting since he was moved into that spot. Flip-flopped with Orlando Cabrera, who's now hitting second for the Reds. The Reds lead the Cardinals by a game and a half in that NL Central. Those two teams have been within 2 games of each other in first and second place every day since May 11th. So they've got a very early pennant race going in that NL Central, with the other 4 teams not even a factor.
Gary, you said it in spring. You said you thought the Reds would be the sleeper team in the National League, and there they are. Good call.
Reds beat the Mets 2 out of 3 in Cincinnati back in early May, and both the wins for Cincinnati came on walk-off home runs, one for Lance Nix and one for Orlando Cabrera. Phillips sitting at 308, 7th in the National League. Has 103 hits already and leads the league in runs scored with 63. Bouncing ball for David Wright to handle. And there's the first out of the night. Mike Pelfrey takes care of Brandon Phillips, 1 away.
There's that hard sinker from Pelfrey, as you heard the follow-through after the follow-through from the swing of Phillips. Phillips kind of winced. That's that hard, boring fastball of Mike that's so tough on right-hand hitters.
Now here's Orlando Cabrera, 36 years old, and winning seems to follow him wherever he goes. Cabrera hitting at 252, and he takes a strike. Orlando Cabrera has been on teams that have gone to the postseason 5 of the last 6 years. And he may be headed there again. A beautiful bunt. Can Wright cover in to get it? And he throws wide, and Davis does a great job with his footwork to get the out.
Well, nice work on here. David's playing back, so it's a big charge here. And we know we've seen David perfect this bare hand. Now the throw's inside the line. I've never been one to like to take a stride in foul territory, but Davis here shows excellent footwork. If you know that the ball's going to beat the runner, then you can make that play. I always preferred to come inside the line, Gary, and come off the bag if I have to and make the tag and not take the chance that the runner runs into that ball.
So if it's a closer play, you don't want to risk the collision.
Correct.
Here's Joey Votto having himself really an MVP caliber season, and it is one of the most stunning all-star snubs in years that Votto was not selected for the team. He hits one well to straightaway center, chasing Pagan back for a look, and that ball is out of here into the home run apple. Joey Votto with a long home run to center field, his 20th of the year. And if he needed to burnish his credentials anymore, he's just done so by making this yard look small.
Well, that's a big three-point play right there. The Canadian. Boy, oh boy, that's impressive. He just smoked that ball. First pitch from Pell, right down the middle in his wheelhouse. Right down Broadway, and oh boy, belt high. Boy, did he turn on that.
Votto's 20th home run. He now has 58 runs batted in, and it's 1-0 Cincinnati. Just the 7th home run Mike Pelfrey's given up this season. Now Scott Rowland. The Reds hit 7 home runs yesterday, but that was at Wrigley Field with the wind blowing out. This was different.
Well, Pell thought he would get a fastball first pitch and maybe get ahead, and hey, yeah, he's strong, I guess. Okay, I'll remember that.
Rowland hits one sharply to right center. Pagan moves over to grab it, and that ends the inning. But Votto's home run gives the Reds the lead. Number 20 for Votto, 1-0 Cincinnati. Mets starting lineup. Jerry Manuel will have to make a couple of subtle changes to his lineup after the Reds switched pitchers, going with the left-hander. He's flipped Ruben Tejada and Alex Cora, and he took Josh Thole out of the lineup and put Rod Barajas in against the lefty Travis Wood.
There's the youngster right there. One of 3 current Red starters under the age of 25. This is his second big league start.
Angel Pagan leads off. Angel had a bounce-back day yesterday. Talking before the game tonight, he said it was the first time that he really felt he had his timing since sitting out for a week with the oblique injury, and he had 3 hits and 2 RBIs in Washington. Bangs this one to shortstop, and Cabrera on the backhand makes the play for the first out. The Reds, in addition to their offense, are one of the best defensive teams in baseball.
Well, the Coors Light Reds defense. You can see Gomes, Stubbs, Bruce. I like Bruce out in right field. Votto, he's just turned into one of the fine players. Phillips, Cabrera, Rowland, and Corky Miller, who gets the start today. 31 errors is okay. We'll highlight that. That is excellent at this point, at the halfway point of the season.
In fact, the Reds have given up only 11 unearned runs all season. That's a stunningly low number through half a year. Here's Ruben Tejada, went 0 for 12 in the series in Washington. Jose Reyes hopes to be able to play tomorrow night after missing a week.
And you can see right there, they're both corners playing in. Votto backing up a little bit after the first strike, and there's Jose.
Jerry felt as though Reyes would be able to play tomorrow, in part because the Mets were scheduled to face a lefty. That was supposed to be Wood. But Wood moved up the plate to pitch today. We don't know who the Reds are going to start tomorrow, and that makes Reyes' return to the lineup a little bit more questionable. Aaron Harang had to be scratched a half an hour before the game because of back spasms, and that's why Dusty had to make the switch. Tejada takes a strike on the inside, and it's 1-2.
Well, you can see right there that this young man out there, Travis Wood, is straight fastball, right over the top, throws strikes, works both sides of the plate, has an excellent changeup and cutter.
Only 5'11", 170 pounds. Tejada hits one right at Cabrera. So 2 ground balls for the shortstop to handle and 2 out. David Wright coming up. First, let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt.
Guy that spoke with Jose Reyes about 10 after 6, and he did not swing at all from the left-handed side today. He swung the bat from the right-handed side well, and said, you know, he wanted to play. He's ready to play tomorrow, no doubt. It does not hurt him when he throws. And I asked him if he played tomorrow. This is when Wood was supposed to go tomorrow, the lefty. I said, what happens if they take him out for a righty reliever? He says that he would stay in bat right-handed. He just wants to play. So you wonder if he'll, you know, go to Jerry Manuel and say, hey, put me in. I'll bat right-handed if Harang, say, goes tomorrow. So we'll have to watch and see if Jerry actually goes for that.
I wonder whether Jerry was tempted when the Reds made their pitching switch to put Reyes in the lineup since he had taken BP right-handed. Here's David Wright, now 4th in the National League in batting at .315, and that good cutter by Wood runs in on him, 0-1.
And that's the first little bird's eye view of it. There's a guy that kills left-handers, hitting over 400 against them. Right after him aggressively in, Garrett.
And then goes with the changeup away, and it's 0-2.
Well, here our hitters have not seen the pitcher yet, so you're getting your first taste of a guy, and so you're going to get fooled on a sinking changeup like that out of the strike zone.
David hitting .424 against lefties this year. Well, Wood's first start was very impressive. 7 innings at Wrigley Field. He allowed just 2 hits against the Chicago Cubs. The Reds took 3 out of 4 in that series. 1-2 to Wright. Fastball away. And now here's Wood pitching on 3 days rest, quite unexpectedly. And you never know how a pitcher's going to respond to that.
Especially in today's game.
2-2 to David. Pulls it foul.
Another cutter in. It looked like David kind of took a measure of that first cutter. This will be fun to watch these 2 guys battle.
Ryan Price, the Reds pitching coach, looking on to one of his young charges.
Brooke Jacoby over there on the right, too.
He's the hitting coach.
My old teammate in Cleveland. Come on, give me some FaceTime, Brooke. I'm supposed to be looking at the camera. There you go. There he is.
Not everybody needs FaceTime like you. And David just had to fight that ball off, running it on his hands.
Boy, this just tied him up inside. Look at the high target from the oh, nice pitch. You see, the good hitters can fight off that stuff and stay in the at bat. And I really, Gary, I just feel that David is back to where he was 4 years ago, 3 years ago.
8th pitch of the at bat. David wastes another one away. 91-mile-an-hour fastball, the hardest pitch Wood has thrown. Well, David's now in the top 10 in the league in just about every category. Batting average, hits, RBIs, doubles, stolen bases, on-base percentage, slugging, extra base hits. He's already got 40 extra base hits halfway through the year.
2-2 upstairs. So David finding a terrific at bat against this young left-hander. Wood just 23 years old. It's like Davis waits on deck. Number 2 pick by the Reds in 2005 out of high school in Arkansas. 10th pitch to right, and he lines a base hit to center field. Oh, what a great at bat that was for David. His 97th hit of the year is the Mets' first of the night.
Well, this is a terrific at bat, and this is a good pitch. 3-2. Look at the sinker away. David going right up the middle. That's all you can do. That's the only thing you can do with that
pitch. So a 2-out base runner, and here's Ike Davis. I get a 2-run homer at Washington yesterday. His 10th of the year. 38 RBIs now.
Here's the IOTV pitch differential. I think he just sets up down the middle, folks, because they ball that natural sink, you see, and that's where they want to throw it, and it'll sink to the outside corner.
It's not often that a better pitch than the one called for on the pitch differential winds up at a base hit.
When you're hot, you're hot. Was that a Ray Stevens song?
I believe it was.
Yes.
He was a funny guy. Check swing, and Ike takes a strike.
Well, we'll see how they feature against Ike. We know what they've been doing. They've been keeping the ball away from him, showing him inside, breaking stuff down and in. Lefties predominantly just staying away.
Ripped into right field, a base hit. Right turn second, he'll go on to third. So Ike Davis with a hard hit base hit to right, and the Mets have runners at the corners with 2 down.
Davis continues to impress. So it's the cutter away, didn't get it away enough, too much up in the zone. So he's on the left side of the rubber, the first base side. Real quick home, almost like Cole Hamels a little bit, it looks like.
It's a lovely view from overhead.
I like it. Bill Webb always looking, searching for new, different angles.
Well, the Mets have scored in the first inning 6 consecutive games, a 2-out chance here with Jason Bay, who had a 2-run triple in the first yesterday, and he takes ball 1. Well,
the defense playing the pull, probably the third base side pulling because of the changeup.
And he whips one into left field. That'll fall in for a base hit. It'll tie up the game. Wright comes in to score. 3 straight 2-out hits. Jason Bay with his 42nd RBI. And the game is tied at 1.
I thought he gave away this pitch. Kind of fluttered. Kind of did something different in his delivery. And you can also see the changeup right down the middle.
Well, Travis Wood allowed just 2 hits in 7 innings in his first big league appearance. He's allowed 3 hits in the first inning tonight. And Bay all of a sudden has gone on an RBI tear. That's 11 in his last 8 games. And now Jeff Francoeur moved up to 6 in the order. Jeff just 4 for his last 25. And he takes that fastball inside. The Mets yesterday had 9 runs and 14 hits in Washington, and picking up where they left off with 3 straight 2-out hits. The Mets scored 6 runs yesterday after 2 were out. It's been a problem for them all year, but another 2-out run to start their offense today, and the 7th straight game that the Mets have scored in the first inning. Francoeur pops one up. Brandon Phillips retreating to call. And the side retired. But Wright, Davis, and Bay with consecutive hits, and the Mets get even after 1. Brought to you by Bob's Discount Furniture, now open in Manhattan off the FDR Drive at 117th Street. Go to mybobs.com for details. Well, Mike Pelfrey allowed a first-inning home run to Joey Votto. Mets got even in the bottom of the first. And Johnny Gomes will lead off for the Reds in the second. Gomes having a surprising year. Thought to be a backup player when the year began, but he's played awfully regularly. Has 10 home runs, and he's 7th in the National League with 56 runs batted in. Former Tampa Bay Ray. And Gomes takes a strike. The Reds are a significantly different offensive team home and road, and that makes sense. They play in one of the best hitters ballparks in the majors, that Great American Ballpark. A little flare, and that'll fall in for a base hit. So Gomes with a leadoff single. The Reds' second hit off Pelfrey. The Reds as a team have hit 64 home runs at home, only 39 now on the road with Votto's home runs. They have a .289 team batting average at home, just .261 on the road. And they average 5.4 runs per game at home, 4.5 on the road, almost a run per game less.
Well, it's a bandbox, there's no question. Here's the youngster that just came up a couple years ago and just set the National League on fire. Had a little bit of a struggle, but he's had a kind of nice little year so far. 10 home runs. Strikes out a lot. 75 strikeouts. Ouch.
Bruce, just 23 years old, #1 pick by the Reds in 05. And he takes it down for ball one.
He struggled last year hitting .223 after having a terrific year 2 years ago.
Remember, he got hurt here at Citi Field last year right before the All-Star break. He messed up his thumb trying to make a catch in the outfield.
He had been struggling to that point. He's one of those guys that if you watch his back arm, folks, he kind of holds his forearm parallel to the ground. Orlando Cepeda did that. I mean, to me, I don't have any opinion one way or the other. Whatever works for each individual, that's the way you're taught to hit. I agree with our colleague Ralph Kiner. You cannot change a hitter when he comes up. You can make minor little adjustments, but they're taught to hit one way. You know, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. It's tough to make the drastic changes. So he's got 10 home runs right now, hitting .277. Don't change anything.
I mean, think about it. He's the same age as Ike Davis and putting up pretty much the same numbers right now.
And this is a young Cincinnati ball club. They've got a team that I think Cincinnati fans are going to have. They're going to have them around a long time, and it's a team for the future, let alone this year.
Yeah, it's a nice mix. I mean, they've got the veterans Cabrera and Roland on the left side of the infield. Their regular catcher Ramon Hernandez is not playing tonight. Good veteran presence behind the plate. But I know what you're saying. They've got some young developing stars.
Their Achilles heel has been their bullpen. They've got some guys, and they've had some injuries. Lincoln got hurt and down, lost a couple starters, and Volquez and Homer Bailey. But the bullpen is their Achilles heel.
As it is for so many teams. Up and in a full count to Jay Bruce. With Drew Stubbs on deck.
They got a nice bench, too. They got some pop off the bench.
We saw Lance Nixon a game-winning home run against the Mets earlier this year.
Chris Heisey has 4 home runs.
Paul Janisch yesterday, after Votto was ejected, went 4 for 4 with a home run. 3-2. Gomes is running, and it's fouled back by Bruce.
And for Joey Votto to get thrown out of the game, folks, he is such a mild-mannered young man.
Well, yesterday, right before the game, Votto found out he had not made the All-Star team. So the headline in the Cincinnati paper, from dejection to ejection. And by getting ejected after one at bat, it ended a 41-game on-base streak for Votto. Gomes runs again, grounded down to Davis, who bobbles, but has plenty of time to make the play at first. As Gomes moves up, 1 away. Well, yesterday in Chicago, the Reds hit 7 home runs, and this guy, Drew Stubbs, hit 3 of them.
How about that? That's the hanger right there with the wind blowing out. That went way out.
Very much out.
Same pitch. Went the other side to go to right field. Have a day.
So Stubbs with the 3 home runs yesterday now has 11 for the year, 41 RBIs for one of the fastest players in the National League. The biggest problem for Stubbs has been that he's been striking out a ton. 85 strikeouts already this year. That's 7th in the National League. Runner at second and 1 out, and Pelfrey works him inside, ball 1.
and another youngster, 25 years of age. So got 42 games last year with the Reds. Hit 8 home runs and 180 at bats. So he's got some pop. It's just interesting, Gary. You talk about Cincinnati in that fan box. If you look at Drew Stubbs' minor league numbers, he was not a home run hitter. He had only 3 home runs in Louisville last year.
You know who he was when he came out of the University of Texas? He was, remember Jason Tyner? The guy who was the first round draft pick? Guy who was just used his speed and never hit home runs. But Stubbs has developed a little bit of power. And, well, he showed off a lot of power yesterday in Chicago. One from Pelfrey, and he jammed him 1-2. The Cubs got hammered by the Reds yesterday, but they moved on to Arizona today and found a team struggling even more than they were. And the Cubs beat the Diamondbacks 9-4.
That's a big matchup in Philadelphia. Atlanta up there with a 1-0 lead early. The Phillies are threatening right now in second. A long way to go in that game.
Chipper Jones hit a home run in that first inning. 1-2 to Stubbs. And the slider off the plate. 2-2. Well, Mike Pelfrey got off to a magnificent start this year. With Corky Miller on deck. But over the last 4 starts, he has faltered somewhat. His earned run average in the last 4 starts, 5.32. Now, 3 of those 4 starts were on the road, and he's pitched much better at home this year.
Well, this is a pitcher's ballpark, and we've talked about it ad nauseum here, that all these other ball clubs that come in here with so much emphasis on power. This stadium right here neutralizes that. It works to the Mets' advantage, and particularly pitchers got to love it here.
You see the numbers for Pelfrey: 9 starts at home and not a single loss. Only one other pitcher in Mets history who's gone his first 9 starts at home without losing. That was David Cone in 1989. He was unbeaten in his first 11 starts at Shea Stadium.
Mike has yet to give up a home run to a right-hand hitter. Only 6 on the year.
7 now.
So that's right. Excuse me.
But the home runs have come more frequently during this latest stretch. 4 homers in his last 4 starts after just 3 in his first 13. 3-2 to Stubbs, and he misses inside. Ball 4. First walk given up by Pelfrey. So 2 men on. Here's your Chevy around the majors. Day games this afternoon. Randy Nadish drove in 4 runs. Carlos Guillen drove in 3, and the Tigers outlasted the Orioles 12-9. Jonathan Sanchez pitched a gem for the Giants this afternoon. Then they scored 4 runs in the 7th. Buster Posey with a home run to beat the Brewers 6-1. And we mentioned the Cubs win. Giovanni Soto, 3 hits, 2 RBIs in their 9-4 win over the Diamondbacks. So here's Corky Miller. Ramon Hernandez left yesterday's game for the Reds with a sore right knee. Miller came in, hit a home run in his first of the year at Wrigley Field. One of those 7 the Reds hit yesterday. And Miller, it's a double play ball right at Cora. Backs off, gets it to Tejada, eludes the runner. 4-6-3 double play. Just like that, Pelfrey's out of the inning. Middle of the second, tied at 1. Park, a lot going on besides just the baseball. It is Military Appreciation Night here at Citi Field. We had some stirring ceremonies before the game. A pregame swearing-in ceremony for 12 Army recruits. The Pledge of Allegiance recited by 6 children of servicemen and women currently serving abroad. Presentation of flags flown over Camp Victory in Iraq by those children to the Met players. A lot of good stuff going on, and we are very pleased, Keith and I, to say that we are being heard tonight on the Armed Forces Television Network throughout the world, broadcasting to servicemen and women stationed around the globe. And our great thanks to all of you for your great service.
Amen.
Ron Barajas leads off in the home second and takes a strike from Travis Wood. Barajas, a late addition to the lineup when Aaron Harang was scratched and the Reds were forced to go to the left-hander.
Had a nice day yesterday. That double was his first extra base hit yesterday, and since June 6th. Last 17 games been struggling. With 2 for 4, hopefully get him going.
So Josh Tolley, who was to have caught tonight. Tolley's been a great offensive spark, but all his at-bats so far have come against right-handed pitching. The Mets went to a 12th pitcher today. They had been going with 11 for a couple of weeks. They recalled Raul Valdez, who's available tonight. And also, the Mets are going to skip Isanori Takahashi this final week before the All-Star break. That'll make him available in the bullpen as well, starting on Wednesday.
There's Raul right there.
Welcome back.
And I did not
held for the first out.
I did not like the Mets going with just the one left-hander for that period of time. You know, they had to carry the 3 catchers. Just felt that the left kind of tied Jerry's hands. Now he's going to have an abundance of left-handers. And they talked about using Valdez in long relief. If a starter gets knocked out early, you got someone that can come in and chew up the middle innings.
Well, the Mets have been going with 6 relievers. They're really only using 5 of those. Fernando Nieve had been kind of the forgotten guy. Bobby Parnell has pitched 5 of the last 6 games coming into the day. Francisco Rodriguez has been overworked. Pedro Feliciano has been working multiple appearances and many more batters than last year. Alex Cora hitting at .227. What you've got now, though, is you've got 12 pitchers and only 5 bench players, and 2 of those 5 are catchers. Mets are still going with 3 catchers. With Fernando Tatis now on the disabled list.
If you think about it, too, you got 2 of your players that one on the bench and 1 playing today, Pagan and Reyes, that aren't 100% against right-handers. They're more that they can swing the bat against lefties, so you're even more limited.
The other thing that happens with Tatis on the disabled list is that other than Cora, who's already in the lineup today, you don't really have a backup first baseman. And I asked Jerry who he would use if he had an emergency and needed a first baseman. They said Henry Blanco.
Chris Carter can't play first? That should be a spot. Oh, I got him.
Now, something about the Mets' number 8 hitter lately. Ruben Tejada has been drilled repeatedly over the last week, and now it's Alex Cora who goes to first base after having been hit.
Well, the catcher set up in. He wanted to come up and in, and just got away. And Alex on top of the plate. That happens.
Well, you asked about Chris Carter. You heard Jerry's comment a couple of weeks ago about Carter. He said he was asked if Carter could play first base. He said that's too close to the ball.
Okay.
Tough free up there to bunt, and bunts it foul.
I missed that one. I was having such a good time over the 4th of July week.
Did you have a nice weekend?
It was a great weekend. Absolutely fabulous time. Beautiful weather.
It was good out in Sag Harbor.
Yes. Everybody had a smile on their face.
Including you, I'm hoping.
Yes. Good.
You were sweating in D.C.
Oh, I bet you were.
Had a nice quick game yesterday. 3 hours, 49 minutes.
That was a real beauty. The getaway day in Puerto Rico, wasn't it? What time did you guys got in at 7, I heard?
7 o'clock to the hotel Thursday morning. And they kind of played like it that night. Although Santana pitched brilliantly.
Yes.
And that's certainly a great sign. Santana pitches again tomorrow night. And with the Mets shortening their rotation this week, it means that Pelfrey and Santana both have 2 starts before the break. Pelfrey will go Saturday and Santana Sunday against the Braves, with R.A. Dickey again opening a series. Jerry loves that idea of Dickey opening series. He'll pitch the Friday night game against Atlanta.
How about R.A.? He just continues to pitch well.
He outpitched Steven Strasburg on Saturday.
Sure did. Oh, gosh, where's that pitch? It's a strikeout.
Sure looked like it. I mean, Pelfrey's got high knees, but still looked like a strike.
It's a pitcher. You got to ring him up. Sorry.
2-2 to Mike, still looking to bunt with 2 strikes. And fouls it off for strike 3. So that's the second strikeout for Travis Wood. He fanned 4 in his big league debut. Home plate umpire tonight, Jerry Meals, working with Mark Wagner, Dan Iasonia, and the crew chief, Dale Scott. He is at third base. Here's Pagan, who grounded out to short his first time up. Wood retired the first 2 in the opening inning, and then Wright, Davis, and Bass strung together 3 straight hits. The 7th straight game the Mets have scored in the first inning, their longest stretch of scoring in the first inning since April of 2008.
Too bad Pagan hurt himself. He was playing so well, swinging a good bat. He's pretty the most consistent Met all season offensively.
Check swing, tapper, foul. Well, next week when the Mets return from the All-Star break, in all likelihood Carlos Beltran will be joining the team, and he'll be in the lineup in San Francisco. And clearly it's going to cost Pagan playing time. Probably it's going to cost Jeff Francoeur playing time. I talked to Angel about it tonight. He said he's fully prepared for it. It's what he's been expecting all along. And the interesting thing is going to be to see how Pagan responds, because he's played the best baseball of his career last year at this, playing every day.
Well, you know, you always there's Jeff Francoeur, who's also going to lose some playing time. It will improve the bench, and it's a tough choice for Jerry. I'm very curious to see how he's going to negotiate this.
Fastball away from Wood, and it's 1-2.
Well, you know, both players, Pagan and Francoeur, are team players. They're good soldiers. They're not going to be happy about diminished playing time, but they're not going to become a problem on this ball club. They're just not. It's not in their DNA.
No, I don't think any of that is the concern. To me, the concern is, you know, can you keep all these guys sharp when they're not playing every day? And the same's going to go for Carlos Beltran. I mean, he's not used to playing 5 games a week, but he's probably not going to be able to physically play every day. And you want to, you know, you want to keep a flow going and keep these guys all in rhythm and get your offense to perform at the max as you go through the last couple of months of the season.
The toughest job for a manager is to keep everybody happy as far as the everyday players and the bench players. Keeping the bench players in the game, getting them enough playing time to keep them sharp and feel like they are a part of the team, helping the team win, not rotting on the bench.
One and 2 to Pagan. And Angel strikes out to end the inning. 3 strikeouts in the inning for Travis Wood. We're through 2 at Citi Field, tied at 1. IOTV. If you're not near a TV, listen to every Mets game on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. The pitcher Travis Wood, a left-hand pitcher but a right-hand batter, leads off. Wood was 1 for 2 in his major league debut against the Cubs. Pelfrey gets ahead of him 0-2. Travis Wood, drafted out of high school in Arkansas. 2 years ago, he had a dreadful year in the minor leagues for the Reds and really fell off the radar. But then he developed that cutter that we're seeing tonight, and it's made all the difference for him. Cora down to grab the grounder, 1 away. It's amazing sometimes how a new pitch can just transform a pitcher. We've seen it with Mike Pelfrey and his split. We've seen it with John Neese and his cut fastball.
The splitter has saved more pitchers and made him from, you know, an average pitcher to above to outstanding pitcher. It's such a great weapon because you don't, as a hitter, you don't see the spin when it comes in. Well, they got forkball. It's similar to a forkball, but they can throw it harder. And the forkball has kind of a tumble, slow tumble. But the splitter, they throw it hard. It looks like a fastball, and the bottom drops out. It's just murder on hitters.
So you were talking earlier about Pelfrey and his splitter. You don't think he's throwing it hard enough right now?
I think he's throwing it too slow, like right there, and I think it's too much time for a hitter to read it. Once in a while, Bruce Sutter was the best at it. Okay, that's all Bruce threw. But Bruce had 3 speeds of splitter, Gary, and knew exactly what the heck he was doing with those 3 speeds. And I will expound after this pitch. He would throw the slow one that got the biggest break, and then he would throw the medium one that came in a little bit harder. It's almost like R.A. Dickey changing speeds with his knuckleball, right? And then he'd throw the real hard one when he's ahead in the count, or first pitch. that would come in hard and go into the dirt, and the hitter would fish for it. That's what I think Mike needs to develop.
Well, here he's thrown a get-me-over splitter, a high curveball, and now a boring sinker. So what does Phillips look for next?
He's always going to be worried about that hard sinker on his hands.
Out to center field, and Pagan is right there. 2 away. So Phillips is retired, and now Orlando Cabrera, who tried to bunt his way on his first time up, and David Wright and Ike Davis teamed up to throw him out.
Another one of those dirty helmets.
What is it about the shortstops?
It's like, remember Hanley Ramirez?
Yeah.
The Klingons are returning.
There used to be a C on that helmet somewhere. Orlando Cabrera's brother, Holbert, was with the Mets in spring training this year. Two of the very few players ever to play in the big leagues from the nation of Colombia. The only other notable player in the game from Colombia is Edgar Renteria, another shortstop.
They soccer primarily down there.
Yep. One part of Colombia near the coast where they play baseball, and all those guys are from that same area. Barranquilla in Colombia. With Cabrera and Rowland and Phillips, the Reds have 3 Gold Glovers on their infield. Votto's not bad either.
No, Joey is, he's not any flash or flare. He's very workmanlike at his first base defensively.
And that gives him such a solid infield defense. Too high, ball 4, and now Votto's going to come up with a man on. Second walk given up by Pelfrey.
I don't think Votto's going to get a fastball down Broadway this time.
Now Joey Votto hit one into the Big Apple housing in center field. His 20th home run of the year.
And big pull on the left side of the infield. David Wright way in the hole. Outfield pretty much straight up. Well, here's the bomb. Pretty impressive.
He was impressed.
And look at this. 3.
Doink. It's like skee ball. Well, we mentioned the fact that Votto was not picked for the All-Star game, although he's on that final ballot, and in the early voting is leading amongst the 5 candidates for the last National League spot. But it would be unprecedented for a player with Votto's first-half credentials to be left off the National League All-Star team. There has never been a player who's been in the top 5 in average home runs and RBIs at the All-Star break who has not made the National League All-Star team. It's happened once in the American League in 1966 when Boot Powell was left off the team. And in addition to those other numbers, Votto's in the top 3 in the league in on-base percentage and slugging percentage.
It's kind of tough to lose with Ryan Zimmerman off that team, too.
Yeah, but his numbers aren't as good.
No, I understand.
But frankly, on the Nationals, Josh Willingham has better numbers than Zimmerman. But to me, picking Ryan Howard over Joey Votto is just ludicrous. I mean, Howard's just not having even a taste of the year that Votto is. But, you know, his manager is managing the All-Star team.
It always goes that way.
It shouldn't.
I had to wait a couple of years to get to an All-Star game. I should have been.
Who beat you out?
Well, there was 3 guys. Their names were Garvey, Stargell, and Rhodes. It was kind of tough to break in that trio.
Who'd you finally overtake?
That's a good question. Willie's time started diminishing. Stargell, as we got older.
2-2 to Votto. And he jams a great pitch by Pelfrey. And he gets him on the comebacker to end the inning. Much better job by Pelfrey against Votto. Keeps it a 1-1 game.
July the 5th, and it is Military Appreciation Night here at Citi Field. Of course, Mets were away on July the 4th, so celebrating the military and all they do for this country. Colonel Jack Jacobs, the Medal of Honor, stands next to me to my left. What an honor it is for me to stand next to him. We'll get to him in a second. Steve Castleton, who runs Military Appreciation Night. You're doing a cool thing tonight. You're having families of the military here, and then you surprise them with a message from their family member on the big board saying hello.
Well, it's something different for them. They haven't talked to their families in a long time. Today it's actually the Marine Expeditionary Unit from Afghanistan. Previous years we threw out the first ball from Iraq. We also threw it out from Afghanistan. This year we did it off an aircraft carrier out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
Wow, that's pretty neat. As Ruben Tejada bats here and pops one to right field, but that will sail out of play. Steve, this has got to be pretty emotional for you. Your son is on a plane right now going over to Iraq. I mean, what are you feeling? What are you thinking right now?
A lot of mixed emotions. My son's going for his second tour. He left earlier today. He's going to Mosul. He left his wife and my grandchild in Atlanta. But he loves what he does. And he's happy to go, and he's going to do his job. Come back safe, and he's going to be here next year for the game.
It's terrific what you do. Return to Colonel Jacobs, the Medal of Honor. It's just impressive looking at it. You were responsible for saving 14 people on your own in Vietnam. I think it's a pretty good question to ask what Independence Day means to you.
Well, it means everything. We wouldn't be here today if it weren't for the service and sacrifice of our young men and women who are out there on the cutting edge of freedom right now. My heart is with them. The hearts of all Americans are with them. We hope that they do their duty and come back home safely. So think about them all the time.
What is the hardest thing, the soldier being out there, alone? And what is the most difficult thing about that?
Well, it's interesting. You think it's because they'd be scared. And of course, anybody who's been in combat will tell you that everybody in combat is scared. No, it's not that. It's not about worrying about whether or not your buddy is going to do what he has to do. It really is about being away from home, away from loved ones, and being appreciated. That's why a day like today that Steve has put together and the Mets have put together is so vitally important to our men and women overseas.
Well, what's your role now? I mean, you go around and talk to a lot of these troops. I mean, how are you involved now?
Sure, I do. I go overseas, go to Iraq, Afghanistan, Djibouti, wherever we have troops in the States as well. I teach at West Point, so I get a chance to talk to developing officers. I just like to stay involved. Once you've got the uniform on, you can almost never take it off.
Well, let me tell you, thank you for all you and all the service men and women do. I appreciate it.
All the kids have the torch now. It's up to them.
Guys, I got to tell you, I'm not a guy that gets starstruck, but I would qualify this as one of those moments. Back to you.
And quite an impressive job as well, throwing out the first pitch tonight. David Wright had a base hit and scored the Mets' only run in the first inning. And David pops one up behind second base. Guerrero retreats to grab it, 2 out. Well, we've done a little research here, Keith. We're talking about your first All-Star game.
Yes.
1979.
Struck out.
But do you know who you beat out to be on the team?
Oh,
Willie Stargell.
I did.
1979. What happened that year?
Well, we both were MVP that year.
He didn't even make the All-Star team, and he won the MVP.
Well, if you look at Willie's year that year, Willie only had, I think, around 370 at-bats that year. They were starting to pull him back from playing on an everyday basis. I believe he did not get 400 at-bats that year.
How did he win the MVP then? Just by being the leader on that
Pops.
We Are Family team?
Pops. He was the glue of that lumber company.
Ike Davis singled to right his first time up. Yeah, so Garvey was the starter, and you and Rose were on the team as backups.
That's right. And I faced Jim Kern, my first All-Star appearance as a pinch hitter. Lasorda was the manager, I believe. Marty Springstead was the home plate umpire. We told this story before. First pitch from Jim Kern, who I faced in the minor leagues a lot. Pitched for the Cleveland Indians in Oklahoma City in the American Association. So I had an idea what he threw. Threw me a fastball outside. It was 2 feet outside. Marty Springsteen called it a strike. And I said I couldn't hit that pitch with a 10-foot pole. And he goes, swing the bat, Sonny. So what am I supposed to do? Argue with him? Am I get thrown out of the game in my first All-Star appearance? I had to suck it up, keep my mouth shut, and I was so upset.
Was that your first experience dealing with anybody associated with the American League?
No. But that was
because you never liked the American League, and maybe it all started with Marty Springsteen, who was an American League umpire.
Swing the bat, Sonny. I got your Sonny.
3-2 to Davis with 2 out and nobody on. And Wood misses inside for ball 4. First walk given up by Travis Wood, who has conducted himself quite nicely tonight. His second big league start, pitching on an emergency basis on 3 days rest. Was supposed to start tomorrow night. Rushed out there when Aaron Harang came up with back spasms before the game.
I like the fact that he works fast. He throws strikes. A little bit of that cutter reminds me a little bit of Al Leiter.
Jason Bay's driven in the only Met run with a single to left. Jason now with 42 RBIs, 11 in the last 8 games.
Throwing that hard. I have not seen a cutter like this from a lefty since the days I used to sit up here with Leiter pitches.
So how is it different from John Deese's cutter?
I think it's got a little more velocity. Al had that power cutter. Oh.
They ate up a lot of bats over the years.
Oh, sure did.
2-1 to Bay with Davis at first. And the off-speed pitch past the mound. Phillips on the backhand. And the Gold Glover makes a beautiful play to throw out Jason Bay for the 3rd out. Close play at first base. Pelfrey back to the mound in a tie game. Roland hit one hard to center field, and Angel Pagan caught his first time up. Talk to the Reds people. They talk about the leadership of Roland and Orlando Cabrera on this team. Roland's now 35 years old, having himself a fine season. Started the night leading the National League in slugging percentage. 17 homers, 56 RBI.
He's always been one of those blue-collar, hard-working guys, hustling. Had a lot of difficulty with a few managers in his career. Tony La Russa as one those years he played with St. Louis. But this year he's been healthy. He has been a guy that's had shoulder problems, has missed a lot of time playing, and just it's a shame because he was just in the middle of his prime. The best year he had was 34 home runs in 04 with the Cardinals.
Toward the middle of the diamond, and a base hit for Roland. Didn't hit it hard, but snaked it through the middle. And so the Reds have the leadoff man on for the 2nd time in 4 innings. All-Star voting isn't quite over yet. From now until July 8th, you can vote for the 34th and final player from each league roster. Go to Mets.com and cast your All-Star game final vote for the final 2 All-Stars for the game in Anaheim. Vote at Mets.com.
And we would be remiss in our duties. Congratulations to that man right there. He's very deserving to be in that All-Star team. Boy, he turned it on since, and David, of course, too, but Jose has really turned it on since going back to that leadoff position. And you said it, Gary. He's got over 50 runs scored. Remember, he had hardly any in the beginning of the year.
Well, if you go back to the middle of May, you would have been hard-pressed to think that either Wright or Reyes would have a chance for the All-Star game. Cora picks it up on the fly and throws to first base. Thought for a moment he was going to try for the short hop to try and get the double play.
I almost thought he did short hop it, but he didn't. He's looking at the runner who was running down the line. If that runner, Gomes, did not run, he would have taken the short hop.
So it's a put out in the air, 4 unassisted. Roland stays at first.
But anyway, it's the best I've seen Jose play. It's the best I've seen David play since David's resurgence. and Jose getting his legs back. It's the best I've seen Jose play as he's been a Met here in his career, and David also. I think they're coming into their own. I really do.
Jay Bruce takes low and inside. And there's still a possibility for Mike Pelfrey to join the All-Star team. Today the Brewers announced that Giovanni Gallardo will not be able to pitch in the game. He suffered an injury yesterday while pitching against the Cardinals. And so somebody's going to have to replace Gallardo. And who knows? It might be Mike. It could be Matt Latos, who certainly is deserving for San Diego. The thing about the selections, other than the Votto snub, you look at that San Diego pitching staff, which has been by far the most dominant in the league, and not to have a single member of that staff going to the game is kind of strange.
It's like the no-name defense, and there's like the no-name pitching staff.
Out to left field off the bat of Bruce, chasing Bay back, looking up at the wall, and it's off the fence. Rolling to third, the throw goes to second, sliding in safely there is Bruce. It's a double for Jay Bruce, and the Reds have runners at second and third.
Nope, nice hitting here, showing the strength of this ball club. He thought it was out. He shouldn't have been sliding into second on this. I bet he was taking a look. Nice play by Bay, and Roland got a great read off the bat. Watch this, folks. There's certain things you don't need help. The plays in front of you, you make your own decision. Too many players today are force-fed, held by the hand, and they can't make a choice on their own. They're always looking for their coach to help them do this and that. I don't think you develop any kind of leadership qualities unless you let them learn their own ways. They're going to walk stubs here. But the only way you're going to improve and grow and become the veteran that Roland is if they point you in the right direction, correct you when you make mistakes, but let you take charge to a degree. Otherwise, you're just going to have like little robots out there playing.
Don't need robots. You want the human element. I've been hearing that all year.
That's absolutely right.
So the intentional walk to Stubbs, who also walked his first time up, will load the bases. And the Mets are hoping for the same result from Corky Miller that they got his first time up. Miller came up with 2 on and 1 out in the second and hit the first pitch into a 4-6-3 double play.
Well, they would like a double play right here, and this man is not a great runner, to say the least.
Miller's never been much of a hitter. He's been around for a long time. Started out with the Reds as a backup catcher, spent some time with the Braves and in the Red Sox organization. Came back to the Reds, 34 years old. He's actually only been with the Reds for a few weeks after Ryan Hannigan got hurt. Bases loaded, 1 out, and Miller strokes one the other way. Foul.
Well, that was his pitch to hit right there. That was a mistake. Nice play. What happened to the sleeves?
It's hot. Oh, nice.
Oh, the hat.
Getting it in the cap isn't the hard part. It's keeping it in the cap. That's the hard part. It's very nicely done. This cap is okay. 0-1 to Miller. Trying to untie this game in the fourth. And he pops one up. Shallow right center. On comes Pagan. Roland tagging, but he's going nowhere. And that's the second out.
Well, Pelf gave him the pitch to hit the first pitch, and he wasn't going to make a mistake out over the plate again. And he just ties up Miller with the little hard sinker in enough. Big swing, big long swing from Miller.
So now Pelfrey will face the opposing pitcher, Travis Wood, looking for his first big league RBI. With the bases loaded and 2 out. That's a lineup with on a whole lot of weak spots. But Pelfrey and Jerry Manuel playing to the weak spot here in the fourth. Got through the 8-hitter Miller, and now he's got the pitcher up with 2 out. And Wood slashes one down to Ike Davis. He surrounds it and makes the play to end the inning. The Reds leave them loaded against Pelfrey in the fourth. Still tied at 1. First Avenue to your left. East River on your right. Pretty shot. Brian Custer, Brandon Tierney, and Mark Malusis will have a preview of tomorrow's Mets-Reds matchup at Citi Field as they debate the top 9 sports stories of the day in the Wheelhouse, presented by Pepsi, part of the New York Sports Local, tomorrow at 5:30 on SNY. Part of the big crowd here at Citi Field, getting ready for the Pyrotechnics following the game tonight. Subtle name change from what used to be known as Fireworks Night.
That means we'll be getting on our cars rapidly to beat the crowds out of here.
Well, unless you want to stick to the fireworks, they always put on a good show.
Oh, I'm booking. I'm out of here.
Jeff Francoeur leads off the home 4th inning. Mets and Reds each scored in the 1st inning. The rookie left-hander Travis Wood in his 2nd big league start, and Francoeur trying to butt his way on it. Corky Miller makes a nice sliding catch for the 1st out.
Well, nice reaction by Miller here. Very nice. Brolin playing way back. Not a bad idea by Jeff. Well, he's left men on base twice. He better do something with his glove. That's a redeemer right there.
So now Ron Barajas, who struck out his first time up. Meanwhile, in Philadelphia, good pitchers duel going on between Roy Halladay and Derek Lowe. Braves leading 1-0 as they go to the 5th. Chipper Jones' 1st inning home run, the only run of that game, off Halladay.
Who's going for the Bravos?
Lowe.
Lowe's pitched better lately.
Halladay, meanwhile, has racked up some losses lately. Not necessarily all his own doing.
7 of them, if I remember correctly.
He's lost 4 of his last 5 or 4 of his last 6.
That's a banged up Philly club. Boy, they missed Utley 8 weeks with a thumb. You got Polanco out, and that's 2 key players.
Don't forget about Carlos Ruiz also. That's been out for the better part of the month now.
There's someone walking on the top of the left field on the top of the roof.
Swing and a miss. Barajas is down on that good cutter by Travis Wood. 5 strikeouts now for Wood, more than he had in his first start.
Good cutter. That's a good one. Now lighter cutter.
You mentioning people on the roof. I believe that has to do with the Pyrotechnics show tonight. They were shooting off the fireworks from the roof.
I've never seen anybody walking on the roof before in the middle of a game.
No. They've got their harnesses. They're prepared. Those are trained professionals. Do not try that at home.
Do not look down. My dad always told me when you're in fire, when you go up the ladder and down the ladder, when you had to rescue, they'd always tell the people that were pulling out of the homes, don't look down. One step at a time.
Well, I mean, you've seen those old construction pictures of the iron workers up there 40 stories up, sitting on a girder with no harness.
That's nuts.
Yeah, but people did it for years and years.
I know, but you know how windy it is up there? I mean, those people are crazy.
Gotta have a lot of confidence.
Sound like someone I know.
Yeah. There's a strike, 1-2 to Cora, who was hit by a pitch his first time up.
Speaking of high places.
Yeah, well, you know how many people died building the Brooklyn Bridge?
No.
Back in the 1880s? I think 40.
Really? Well, a lot of people died. I'm a West Coast guy. A lot of people died building the Golden Gate Bridge. Gosh, what a wonderful topic.
2-2 to Cora, and he slaps one to left field. On comes Gomes to slide. He can't get it. It's a foul ball. Very close to an extra base hit for Cora as Gomes gave it a good effort. Never going for his glove.
Well, there's that little short area right there. Hold it, there, 5 feet in between the foul line and that barrier there running down the line.
Good call by Dale Scott. Third base umpire seeing that ball foul. As Dale, veteran of the American League umpiring system from before the 2 leagues merged. Seems like a long time ago, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
15 years. Is it that long since the two leagues merge their umpires?
I really don't have a problem with that either.
Well, they've merged everything else. There are no league presidents anymore. It's just one big happy family.
Two less paychecks. Oh, what a great shot.
Cora lines one into right center for a base hit. And it gets by Stubbs. Cora to second. Backed up by Bruce to keep Cora from going any further. So a single for Cora, an error on Stubbs, moving Cora into scoring position.
Well, you know, this should never happen. It does happen. He just got kind of wrapped up, moving too quickly to his left. Didn't get settled in. Nice at bat by Cora right there. Fought off a lot of pitches in. Nice backing up by right fielder Jay Bruce, too. This could have been a triple. Cora could have wound up on third.
Of course, been the king of the triples lately. He had triples in back-to-back games in Washington. So now Pelfrey will try and get him home with the go-ahead run. Each team now with 4 hits. Pelfrey with 2 RBIs this year. And takes the cutter for a strike. Mike struck out trying to bunt his first time up.
I don't like when Mike talks to himself. I get very worried when he starts berating himself.
Used to be he wasn't able to do that when he had that mouthpiece. He just chew on that instead.
And a balk is called against Wood, moving Cora over to third.
Oh, there should be no reason for this. You've got the pitcher up with 2 outs. Oh, yes, he started. You know it.
Well, we'll see whether it causes him to lose his concentration here.
Well, one thing, if it doesn't, it gets top of the order up next inning. Oh, that would have been here anyway, excuse me. I didn't say that.
I did hear you. Slow ground ball for Phillips. And so Wood able to work around the mistakes by the Reds in the 4th and keep it a tie game. Pyrotechnics to come after the game. Get them all wired up and ready to go. Zord, well, you'll enjoy 2 amazing theme parks, nonstop nightlife, and a 3-night stay on site at the exciting Hard Rock Hotel. All you have to do is go to sny.tv/Toyota and enter the Toyota Fan Flyaway Sweepstakes today. Here's your AT&T trivia question for tonight. Which 2 players hold the Mets record for being selected to 7 straight All-Star games?
Well, one's obvious.
Yeah? The guy with his number on the wall?
I would think so. The other one I think I played with.
I think you did too. Brandon Phillips leads off in the 5th inning in a 1-1 game. Each team with 4 hits. And Phillips lines a base hit into left field. So for the 3rd time in 5 innings, the Reds get the leadoff man on against Pelfrey. And they've got a fast man aboard in Phillips, who has 10 steals this year. The Reds, for a team that hits a lot of home runs, they do enough running. Guys like Phillips and Cabrera, and especially Drew Stubbs, all will steal a base. Cabrera tried to bunt his way on and was thrown out by David Wright in the 1st. He threw a walk in the 3rd. Pelfrey's yet to have a 1-2-3 inning. He's given up 5 hits and walked 3 over 4 innings plus.
You can hit and run with Cabrera. He handles the bat well.
Oh, back. Very close.
Very close is right. Very risky lead he was taking. Nice little swiping tag by Mr. Davis.
I think it's a good call. Mark Wagner, the first base umpire. Phillips a little shorter on the lead this time.
Well, he's not dancing around like he was last time. He's been caught 8 times in those 10 steals.
He's got a little hot dog in his game. Taken low by Cabrera, 1-0.
Well, he's always been a thorn in the Mets side. He's hurt the Mets in more than one way, offensively, defensively, home runs. He's a good player. They got him for a song from the Indians. Well, there's the Coors Light Freeze Cam. It's a good night for the Coors Light Freeze Cam. He got in. Good. That's a good call. That's close, though, Gary.
He's got that pinky to the bag. Well, before he got to the Indians, Brandon Phillips was part of the worst trade ever made, which happened to be made by current Mets GM Omar Minaya when he was with Montreal. He wanted to get Bartolo Colon from the Indians, and he gave up 3 players: Brandon Phillips, Grady Sizemore, and Cliff Lee.
Oh, wow.
The worst trade ever made. Off the corner, 2-1. But in Omar's defense, at the time, there were thoughts that the Expos were going to be contracted out of existence. So he was trying to, make one run before they disappeared. And he gave up 3 incredibly talented prospects, all of whom have gone on to become huge stars. Votto looming on deck. Huge batter here for Pelfrey, and he's working hard on both Cabrera and on the runner Phillips. 2-1. Perfect hit and run count.
It's nice to see that Reds have a good team again.
Birthplace of professional baseball.
The Queen City, right?
Queen City. As Murph used to say, great place to get your hat blocked and your shoes shined. There goes Phillips, hit run play, and perfectly executed by Cabrera. And the Reds will have runners at the corners, nobody out, and Joey Votto coming up. Well, you can't throw it up any better than that.
Well, you got a guy that can handle the bat. Look at the inside out here. This ball's coming in on his hands, and look at him inside out and stay level, and just poke that ball to the right side of the infield, and they're in business.
So the Reds poised to try and take the lead. Votto gave them an early lead with his 20th home run of the year. Straight into the apple housing in the first inning. That's will play the infield back here, look for 2, and concede the go-ahead run to try and get a double play. That's a turn 1 double play tonight.
Good pitch.
Votto takes a strike.
Well, the IOTV pitch differential on the home run, and that's a mistake. That's a sinker supposed to be down and away, and that just had inner half down, mid-thigh, right into a very, very happy area.
I think that apple has a scar on it now.
A dent.
Curveball from Pelfrey misses, and it's 1-1.
That's right. It would be bruised. The apple would be bruised.
Bruised fruit?
The apple's bruised.
Votto, all these kids with widespread stances now. This is the in vogue. Hey, it works. Going back in. Missed, but beat him.
Now Pelfrey in a spot where he'd love to get a strikeout with Phillips at third and Cabrera at first and nobody out. Mike has not struck out a batter tonight. Yesterday we saw strikeouts galore, 26 of them in that game. That pitcher struck out 12 and Washington pitcher struck out 14. 26 strikeouts, 26 hits. That's why it took almost 4 hours. Here's the 1-2 to Votto. Taken high with a fastball. Mike threw him his hardest fastball at 94.
See if they stay in.
Very reasonable pitch count for Pelfrey here in the 5th inning. But encountering trouble after Phillips' leadoff hit and Cabrera's hit and run single. 2-2 to Joey Votto.
Splitter.
Couldn't get him to bite, and it's 3-2. So now if you're Dusty Baker, do you send Cabrera from first base to try and stay out of the double play?
65 strikeouts from Votto. I'd run him. And we'll take a peek at the signs here. Very voyeur. Fastball in. That's French for voyeur.
Cabrera runs and Votto fouls it back. That was not anywhere near where Pelfrey wanted it.
It was not even close. He got away with one. Now, lucky for Mike, it was up and out of the strike zone.
We're struggling a little with fastball command right now.
Good cut by Votto. He had to feel good about that swing.
So Cabrera was running on the first 3-2 pitch. They go to the slider. Fake to third.
Oh, I think that sign was the sign for the fake to third, as you called it. Excellent call.
As we see it.
If I was in the kitchen getting a soda pop, didn't have the screen in front of me, I know exactly what would have happened.
You leave the room during the inning? Cabrera runs. Votto takes ball 4, and the bases are loaded. So Pelfrey, unable to command his fastball late in that at bat, issues his 4th walk of the afternoon. And the Reds have the bases loaded and nobody out, and Scott Rowland coming up. Rowland is lined out to center and then trickled the base hit through the middle of the infield. He's 1 for 2. Dusty Baker's team, the leading scoring team in the National League, in primetime situation here in the 5th in a 1-1 game.
4 walks in 5 innings, and Mike's been in trouble every inning.
Ricky Miller hoping that he doesn't get another double play to hit into.
I like the mustache.
I don't think it was quite up to your standards. It's not quite Carl Pavano.
The opposite field and the outfield, and they're going to play obviously double play depth.
Now Rowland takes a fastball for a strike. Good pitch by Pelfrey to start him off.
Probably Rowland's approach is to go up the middle here, try to lay off the hard sinker down and in that would get the ground ball. Look for a ball out over the plate. Oh, good cut. Good cut. So basically, Gary, what you can do is 2 things on your approach here. Is either you can look in for that sinker and set up inside, or you can take inside and look for something out over the plate to drive up the middle. So there's options you can run with. But now 0-2, Rowland's got to choke up and really just shorten up.
Three on and nobody out. And the 0-2 to Rowland. And the slider off the plate. Ball and 2 strikes. Mike threw a lot more sliders in his last start against the Marlins because his other pitchers just weren't working for him. In that game in Puerto Rico, he gave up 4 runs and 12 hits over 4 2/3. And he's finding trouble in the 5th inning again. 1-2 to Rowland. In tight with a fastball, and it's 2-2.
Well, that was the pitch he wanted to go in for a strike. And when you're in a tight situation like this, where one mistake can be the ball game with this kind of hitter and Rowland, the power that he has, sometimes pitcher can become too fine. It's a pressure situation right now for Mike. He's in trouble.
Rowland with 4 career grand slams. 2-2. In tight, and it tipped the bat at strike 3. Or did it hit his hand? Wait a second. What's the umpire?
Strike 3.
He's out. That's what I thought he said. Rowland was going to first base thinking he was hit by the pitch, but Jerry Meals said it was a foul tip held by Barajas for strike 3. And we'll get an argument here. Dusty Baker eludes the bat boy and heads out to talk to Jerry Meals. It's the first strikeout of the game for Pelfrey, and it comes in a huge spot.
I thought he swung. Yeah, it got him in the back form. He didn't swing either.
Well, it definitely didn't hit the bat. What Meals called was a foul tip held for strike 3, and it definitely was not that.
He did not swing. That is not a swing, and he got hit in the forearm. Mets catch a break.
Now, the umpires are conferring they might overrule this if somebody got a better look from one of the corners.
How can you overrule this? How can you see it better?
I don't know.
I agree with the producer.
The one thing I'll say is that it can be clear for the umpire on the corner, the umpire at first in this case, Wegner, that it did not hit the bat of Rolla. And if it didn't hit the bat and it hit something, then they might deduce that it hit him on the arm.
If there would be an ejection here.
Well, Jerry would go crazy, I'm sure.
You know, stick with what you got here.
They're clearly considering it, otherwise they wouldn't be having this conversation.
The second base umpire would have had a great view. Now the pressure is on him now.
Well, it's a tough thing to override. It's not a call that you normally see overruled.
They're not going to overrule it.
They're obviously considering it.
I don't like it when the jury stays out a long time. I like when the jury comes back quick. Oh, they changed it. Oh, here comes Jerry.
Well, that'll give the Reds the lead. Rod Barajas is extremely hot. David Wright trying to move him out of the way before Barajas gets ejected. And now Jerry Manuel will certainly get himself ejected. But the players have got to keep their cool and stay in the game. Let the manager take the heat. The Reds have taken a 2-1 lead on an overrule call from a strikeout to an RBI hit batsman.
And she's saying it's your call, and I agree with Jerry. It's not your call. He told the second base umpire, it's not your call.
And they're really letting him go, which means that they understand that what they've done is rather controversial here. I don't think I've ever seen that particular call overruled. And now finally Manuel's been run out of the game by Dan Iasonia, the second base umpire.
He's got to be run here. He had to get run.
So Jerry's been ejected, and you knew he had to be, because that's a call that just is never made. That's the umpires making up the rules as they go along. Now, did they get the call right? I think they did.
They did.
And that's the bottom line. The question is, do they have the authority to do that in that particular situation? It was called a foul tip held for strike 3 by the home plate umpire. And here's the Coors Light Freeze Cam to get a better look.
Now, there's no swing on this. I think it might have missed him.
It might have brushed his uniform.
What was the count, by the way, on that?
It was 2-2.
So,
yeah, so it was not ball 4. It would not have been ball 4. Roland immediately headed to first base. Jerry Meals then said strike 3. That got Dusty Baker out there. And after Baker said his piece, the umpires got together, overruled the call to give the Reds the lead. And Jerry Manuel then got himself ejected. Rod Barajas is fortunate that he didn't get ejected, because he went crazy the minute that the call was overruled. And the umpires appeared to give everybody a little extra leeway there, understanding that it's not a situation that normally is overruled.
And I found out ever since the umpires, when they struck and they let them all go and they called on a whole new crew of umpires back in the 90s, I just feel that there's more head sessions and or skull sessions, whatever you want to call them, with umpires where they gather together. You know, back in our day when we played, we had guys that were forthright and assertive and stuck to their guns. Very, very seldom asked for help.
Well, here's the thing. You can certainly see, if you're an umpire on the bases, that that ball did not hit the bat. But I'm not sure that you can say definitively that it hit Roland.
Right.
So the overall could have been to take away the strike and make it ball 3. But they didn't do that.
Or maybe Jerry Mills said he heard something tick.
Right. I think you're probably right. So now Johnny Gomes steps in, 2-1 Cincinnati, and he lines one to short, and Tejada picks it off for the out. They called the infield fly rule on that, even though it wasn't hit very high in the air. So if that ball had dropped, it would have been an out.
Well, that's a huge out for Pelfrey. You know, Mike could have blown up right here, and that's another sign of Pelfrey's growth. That's a huge out. Double play now. They can keep the bleeding down. Get out of this with one run.
Tough hitter though here in Jay Bruce, who doubled off the left field fences last time up. 2-1 Cincinnati. Rolen gets credit for his 57th run batted in on that controversial reversal of call. By the way, it's the second time Jerry Manuel's been ejected from a game this year. He was ejected from a game against Washington back on the 10th of May. But that's a situation where a manager has got to get himself ejected, even if he had to try as hard as Jerry did, and he sure did. And Bruce fouls it back 1-1. Well, here's another angle from the overhead camera.
And that's another Coors Light freeze frame, folks. Count. Well, that's tough to tell.
Well, if it hit him, it hit his uniform. But you can't even tell from that. And with that kind of close-up view, you can't tell. The question is, how can the umpires, particularly the ones who are standing 90 to 120 feet away, make that call?
And that's Jerry's argument, of course.
Said it's not your call. And you know what? He's right. It's not generally the call of the base umpire to determine whether a hitter is hit by a pitch. In any event, a run is in for the Reds. 2 hits, a walk, and a controversial hit by pitch. Base is still loaded with 1 out, and a good hitter, Jay Bruce, at the plate. And Pelfrey trying to keep his team in the game. Dave Joust, the bench coach, now handling the lineup card. He and Dan Worthen will share the duties here with Jerry Manuel ejected. One and 2 to Bruce. And he comes upstairs with the fastball. Well, earlier in this inning, Pelfrey got in a strikeout situation against Joey Votto and was unable to throw his fastball where he wanted it. Ended up walking Votto. He can't end up walking Bruce here. Two. Pounded foul.
And that's the third pitch that's at bat. And Barajas has set up inside here, and he has missed inside, and he's got to be careful. I think he's getting a little 2 3/4 here instead of over the top a little more to dart that ball in that inside corner. Remember, last at bat for Bruce, he hit that double off the left field fence. And a ball left out over the plate.
Mike's throwing 23 pitches already in this inning. There's still a lot of work left to do. Again, the 2-2. He struck him out. Big strikeout for Mike Pelfrey, 2 away.
Well, this ball just stays out, doesn't sink.
Got a split?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yep.
Got him.
Well, Pelfrey, it looked like he had his first strikeout of the night on Rolen, and that one overruled. Now he has his first strikeout and a chance to get through this inning with only 1 run scored, which would be an enormous boost for the Mets. Drew Stubbs, who with 3 home runs yesterday in Chicago, has been up twice today and walked both times, the second time intentionally.
Not this time.
No. Unless you're Barry Bonds. And even then, swing and a miss at the fastball. Mike's pumped up now.
Wow, he just threw that one right by him. This was like you get you up in the dugout, dial it up a notch. They're a day late and a nickel short.
One to Stubbs. And that's just off the corner.
Oh, Mike thought
for sure he had that one, but Jerry Meals said no.
That's the case where
David Wright comes in for third base to try and settle Pelfrey down because he was visibly upset.
Well, he wanted it in, and he missed on the opposite side of the plate, and that's knee-high outside corner.
Certainly looks like a strike.
Look at Pelf. Oh, boy.
And that's when David Wright came in to try and soothe him and keep his mind focused.
Sam and Dave, soothe him.
Hit hard toward the home base hit. That'll bring in Cabrera. Votto right behind him. Base throw to the plate, not in time. A 2-out, 2-run single for Drew Stubbs. And the Reds now lead it 4-1. And Pelfrey is still hot at that last ball call that didn't get him to 2 strikes.
Well, the toughest RBI is a 2-out RBI, and a tight ball game even more tough. Let's see the pitch. It's inside. He just didn't get a lot of sink on it. Nice hitting by Stubbs. Mike, you got to back up home plate.
So 3 runs have scored in the inning. Corky Miller is the 8th man up in this inning. Miller is 0 for 2, and he takes it wide for ball 1. And Pelfrey may be letting his emotions get away from him now. He's had 2 key calls go against him in this inning. And he still has more work to do with 2 on and 2 out. And Miller grounds one foul, 1-1. The inning began with a base hit to left by Brandon Phillips and a well-executed hit and run as Cabrera singled to right. Votto walked to fill the bases, and then Roland was either struck out or hit by a pitch or neither. After a reversal of call, it was a hit by pitch that gave the Reds the lead. Pelfrey retired the next 2, but Stubbs with a 2-out hit to drive home 2 more. 1-1 to Miller. Line the other way, and a fair ball going into the corner. That'll bring home Roland. Stubbs around third. He can fly. He'll score easily. A 2-run double for Corky Miller has stretched the Reds' lead to 6-1. So Miller, who had driven in only 4 runs this season, takes one right down the right field line, and the Reds now have themselves a 5-run 5th inning.
Well, Miller, 3rd time is a charm. First 2 at bats, left men on base. Too much plate. Stayed up. The ball stayed up too, Gary. I want to see the back runner. Did he touch third?
Looked like he did.
It looked like he did. Yeah. One blind.
Stubbs is pretty fast. You might have just missed it. Here's the pitcher, Travis Wood, who's now in line for his first major league win if he can pitch one more inning successfully and have the Reds hold the lead. Raul Valdez just back from the minors up in the Mets bullpen. 1-1 to Wood, the 9th man up in this inning.
Well, this is a funny inning right here. The overturn, the hit by pitch. Strikeout turned into a hit by pitch. But Pelf got himself in trouble with 2 leadoff singles and a walk.
Well, I think the worst part of this inning, the last 4 runs have come after that pitch to Stubbs on the outside corner that was called ball 1 instead of strike 2.
Right.
Because Mike lost his cool after that. And he's subsequently given up 2 hard hits that have produced 4 runs and turned a 2-1 game into a 6-1 game. One and 2 to Wood. And he hits one well to center field, chasing Pagan back, and he can't get it. Miller scores. Wood steaming around second. He's sprinting for third. Wow. And Travis Wood, the pitcher, slides in safely with his first career triple, his first career run batted in, and the wheels have fallen off for Mike Pelfrey. It is 7-1 Cincinnati.
Pagan playing shallow has no chance. I noticed Wood last time he grounded out the first base. He ran hard down the line. Watch this kid fly. Tell me he's not an athlete. He's quick.
Well, that's going to be all for Mike Pelfrey for the second straight start. He exits after 4 2/3. The call to the bullpen brought to you by Lincoln Mercury. The Reds have put 6 on the board in the 5th inning. The controversial call, first a strikeout, then it was changed to a hit batsman. A strange inning for Mike Pelfrey ends for him with 3 straight hits, a single, double, and triple to the 7, 8, and 9 hitters. That chases him from the game and brings in Raul Valdez to face Brandon Phillips. Valdez just back with the ball club today.
And Jerry mentioned, you see his numbers, get some innings from Valdez. Well, this is a perfect night for it. This is called middle relief, folks. You got to chew up some middle innings and save a bullpen.
He'd been stretching out his arm in AAA. He made 2 starts for Buffalo while he was down there and pitched well. Gave up just 1 run in 9 innings over those 2 starts.
And this game's not over. It's just hold the fort. You know, the team got a lot more at bats. Just peck away. But it's up to the middle reliever to hold the team right there. Stop the bleeding. The unsung hero of the bullpen.
Valdez called up today with Fernando Tatis going on the disabled list with a shoulder injury. Shoulder injury that's been bothering him for almost 2 years. Swing and a miss, 2-2. Phillips led off this inning with a single into left field on Pelfrey's first pitch. Orlando Cabrera followed with a hit and run single. Votto walked to fill the bases. Then came the key play of the inning when Roland was judged to have struck out. And then after a meeting of the umpires, the call was overruled and called a hit by pitch to force in a run. That gave the Reds the lead. Davis watches it go out of play. Then Johnny Gomes popped up and Jay Bruce struck out. It looked like Pelfrey was going to limit the damage. But then a bad call on a pitch to Drew Stubbs got him perturbed, and he never got out of that funk. Gave up a single to Stubbs to drive in 2, a double to Miller to drive in 2, and a triple to the pitcher Wood to drive in another and turn 2-1 into 7-1. 3-2 now to Phillips. Orlando Cabrera waiting on deck. Tejada to his left. And a short hop to Davis to end the inning. 6 runs for the Reds halfway through. 7-1 Cincinnati. Eat fresh. Tomorrow at 6, see what the biggest mouths at SNY have to say about tonight's Mets-Reds matchup as Chris Carlin and Adam Shine debate the biggest sports topics of the day on Loudmouths, presented by Geico, part of the New York Sports Local, tomorrow at 6, only on SNY. There's your Acela 5th inning recap. The Reds turned a controversial call into a 6-run 5th inning, knocking Mike Pelfrey out of the box. Second straight start, Pelfrey has exited after 4 2/3. That's got their lone run on the Jason Bay RBI single in the first. Jordan Smith is up in the Cincinnati bullpen. Remember, the starter Travis Wood is pitching on 3 days rest after making his first big league start on Thursday. Top of the batting order, 3rd time around for the Mets against Wood, and Angel Pagan takes a strike. Pagan is grounded to short and struck out 0 for 2.
Oh, good changeup. He's got some late sink on that change. That's the best one he's thrown today. It's amazing what a 6-run lead will do to a pitcher.
Especially after he's hit a triple. That's pretty special.
Nice. I always like this angle right here.
Pagan drills one deep down the left field line, right toward the pole. It's a home run. Angel Pagan just kept it inside the left field foul pole for his 5th home run of the year. Look at that ball. Votto hit into the apple with a hole in it. You see that smoke coming out of it? Pagan's home run cuts the Cincinnati lead to 7-2.
Cutter that just didn't get there. Up in the strike zone. That's way out. That's crushed. That was no field mouse home run.
Right over that SNY side. So Pagan leads off the 5th inning with a home run, the first one that Wood's given up in the majors, and for every home run hit at Citi Field this season, Stuart Rohr and Kinray's Home Runs for Charity program will donate $1,000 to the Mets Foundation. Kinray's donated $27,000 so far in 2010. Ruben Tejada has grounded to short and taken a call third strike 0 for 2. It's trying to fight right back here in the bottom of the 5th after the Reds put up a 6th spot at the top of the inning. David Wright on deck behind him, Mike Davis. And Tejada grounds one to short. Cabrera throws him out, 1 away.
You notice Cabrera's arm, not the arm, not that strong an arm anymore. Just enough to get over there. Kind of throws a little bit of a rainbow over there.
Now David Wright, who singled to center and scored a run and popped up to short. 1 for 2. '23-year-old Travis Wood needs 2 more outs to qualify for his first major league victory. When Wood made his major league debut against the Cubs last Thursday, he became the 3rd Cincinnati pitcher to make his major league debut with a start this season.
White hits one deep toward the gap in right center field. Back goes Stubbs, and it's off the base of the fence at the 4:15. Right around second, he heads for third. No relay throw. It's a triple for David Wright.
Well, it's a home run at Cincinnati.
It's a home run at O'Shea. But look at that beautiful swing. Look how he's just cutting on top, squaring up those shoulders, that back shoulder squaring up, parallel to the ground. He's driving that ball in the gap. That's the old David Wright. He's just going to have to say it's 415 out there. You know, it is what it is.
His second triple of the year, his 41st extra base hit. So he's at third with 1 out, and Ike Davis looking to scratch another run off the deficit. Ike has singled and walked tonight, 1 for 1. And Ike dribbles one up the third baseline. Tough play. No play. Wright scores. 7-3.
David read that play very well and came charging home, and Wood couldn't pick it up cleanly.
A little bit of a risk right there, David. You might want to just be down this many runs to play safety first, but he didn't hesitate. Good jump.
He might have distracted Wood as he went on by. They're going to charge an error to Wood. It's a tough error.
Wow.
They will give Davis an RBI.
That's an RBI right there. You go, David, I'm buying you dinner.
So Davis doesn't get a base hit, but he does pick up his 39th run batted in. That puts him second among National League rookies, trailing only Jason Hayward. And with Hayward on the DL, I could have the lead in that category before very long. Dusty Baker and Brian Price, the pitching coach, trying to massage Wood through this 5th inning to give him a chance for his first big league win. But the Mets have fought back with 2 runs. Pagan with the home run, Wright with the triple. Now the error brings him in, and it's 7-3. Jordan Smith ready to go if needed in the Reds bullpen. Jason Bay is 1 for 2, single to drive in a run in the first. And then Brandon Phillips made a fine play going to his right to throw Jason out in the third. 2 errors tonight for Cincinnati. Team that had the fewest errors in the majors coming into the night.
Oh boy, it was a hanger.
But he got under it into right center. And Stubbs is there to play it. 2 out.
That was right there on a tee.
So 2 away, and it's left to Jeff Francoeur. Jeff has been up twice. Popped up to second base and then tried to butt his way on and fouled out to the catcher. Jeff in a 4 for 27 skid right now. And that cutter misses inside, ball 1. A long ball here, and this game looks very different. Davis, no speed at all, as Votto holds him on. And Frank Cora, 1-1.
It's a cutter. If he can get that right down there in the knees and throw it right there every time. Tough pitch to lay off. From a cutter down on the knees, down and in, to a fastball up and away.
Now on 1-2, and he misses high. 2-2 to Frank Cora. Reds 7 runs, 9 hits. The Mets 3 runs, 6 hits. Ron Barajas would be next.
Of all the hitters in the lineup of the Mets, the one guy that's having the most trouble with that cutter on his hands is Jeff.
Wood about to throw his 95th pitch of the night. And Frank Cora drills one. Foul.
Wood is starting to miss. The precision is leaving him. Starting to leave some pitches out over the plate.
Well, 23-year-old lefty making his second big league start and doing it on 3 days rest. Finding out just shortly before the game that he'd be going today in place of Aaron Harang, who was scratched because of back spasms. Just trying to get through this 5th inning. Again, the 2-2. Popped up foul, and that'll come back out of play.
It's a hot town, Little Rock, Arkansas.
Hot Springs. 3-2. Wood was in the conversation this spring for the number 5 starter job with the Reds, but Mike Leake, right out of college, beat him out. But the Reds have done a nice job promoting young pitchers this year with success. Leake, Sim LeCure, and Travis Wood each made their first start more than 6 innings, 2 runs or less. Inside ball 4, and Frank Cora's on. And how much further will Dusty Baker go with his rookie left-hander in an effort to get him the win? And the answer is no longer than this. So he will exit after 4 2/3, 1 out shy of the necessary innings to qualify for a victory. Bill Bray, the left-hander, Jordan Smith, the right-hander in the bullpen, and they want the right-hander Smith to pitch to Barajas. Dusty congratulating his young lefty, who has to be disappointed. We'll be right back. Verizon Wireless, by Subway, eat fresh, and by State Farm. Today's State Farm agent of the day is Pat Cauley of Glendale, New York. Rookie right-hander Jordan Smith comes on for the Reds.
9th game for Smith. Sinker slider pitcher. Had some knee problems and then developed elbow problems. But here he is back. Called back up. Touched up his last outing.
Breaking ball sits high to Barajas, who's been up twice and struck out both times. Travis Wood, emergency starter, 4 2/3, allowed 6 hits, 3 runs so far, a couple of walks, 5 strikeouts. Barajas drills one foul, 1-1. Let's have 2 runs home here in the 5th. Angel Pagano leadoff home run. David Wright a 1-out triple, scored on an error by the pitcher Wood. Davis at second, Frank Cora at first, and 2 down. Smith got touched up for 3 runs in 2/3 of an inning against the Cubs on Saturday. And Barajas lines a base hit into left field. Here comes Davis steaming around third. He will score. Rod Barajas with an RBI single. The Mets have scored 3 in the inning, and the Reds' lead is now 7-4.
Well, when you're a sinker ball pitcher, you got to keep the ball down. And that ball's way up. Let her high. Barajas just fights it off.
That run will be unearned. Now the Mets get the tying run to the plate. The Reds scored 6 controversial runs in the top of the inning. The Mets have responded with 3 in the bottom. Cora's been aboard twice, hit by a pitch in the second, then singled to center in the 4th. Nobody's come out on deck as of yet for the Mets. And he's popping out of the dugout. It's Jesus Feliciano. Cora first has to keep the inning going. And he drills one to the gap in right center. That's going to be between them and cut off deep in the gap by Stubbs. Scoring is Frank Cora. Here comes Barajas. The relay throw is wild. It's a 2-run double for Alex Cora. The Mets have scored 5 in the inning to cut the Reds' lead to 7-6.
Right down the pipe. No sink. And Alex all over it. Barajas knows it's in the gap. Even if the throw's on line, Barajas is safe.
Good job on the pitcher, Smith, to back up, keep Cora from going to third. Now Jesus Feliciano will try and get the tying run in from second. 6 runs for the Reds in the top of the 5th, 5 for the Mets in the bottom of the 5th. And Dusty's lead is only 1 run. And Feliciano takes inside ball 1.
Well, pitch differential, your IOT pitch differential, IOTV pitch differential, and you can see right there, right down the pipe, right down the middle, off the corners.
Jesus Feliciano hitting at .298, 1 for 5 as a pinch hitter. And he pops one up. With the angle, Cabrera from shortstop over toward the line, called off, and now stays with it to end the inning. But 9 men came to bat in that 5th inning. Angel Pagan got it started with a home run. And before the inning was over, the Mets had tallied 5 and turned.
Welcome back to Citi Field. New pitcher for the Mets presented by New York Community Bank. Stats line on Fernando Nieve will come into the game now and probably have interesting workload. What an inning. Boy, oh boy. I mean, the Reds put a 6-burger on the Mets. Mets come back, put 5 on the board. We've got ourselves a game here at Citi Field. There was a time that Jerry Manuel was around managing this game, but that seems like eons ago now. He was ejected over a controversial call, which led to all those Reds runs. And because we are basically at the halfway point of the season, I talked to Jerry and I asked him, hey, first half, give me what you liked and what you didn't like. And he said, well, I think the one thing is you look at the things we did in spring training, the fundamentals, the base running, the defense, and that has really carried over, and I really like that. But, clearly going forward, Jerry's concern is the bullpen and how this is all going to play out. And, right now I think it's pretty clear, guys, that Jerry expected an 8th inning guy to certainly kind of have stepped up by now, as Orlando Cabrera is the batter for the Reds here. And it hasn't happened. And I said, Jerry, will you just kind of name somebody in hopes that maybe if you do that, that person can then take off? And he said, not the way we're playing. It wouldn't be right. I think someone has to earn it. Someone's going to have to step up and earn that spot going forward. I'm not going to just give that distinct responsibility away. So that's Jerry going forward. You guys talked about the rotation. It's going to be Dickey, Pelfrey, and Santana, so they'll skip Takahashi. I asked about the rotation in the second half. He wouldn't commit to that, how he's going to start off the second half of the season, guys.
Cabrera hits one in the air to center field, hit well. Back goes Pagan. He'll have room to reel it in. 400-foot fly ball from Orlando Cabrera to start the 6th inning.
Well,
the guy who had been pitching himself into that 8th inning spot over the last 2 weeks since coming up from Buffalo was Bobby Parnell. But what has become a problem with this team all year long has been that when a guy out of that bullpen starts pitching well, all of a sudden his workload gets almost unmanageable because the Mets have led the league in relief appearances.
Well, Parnell, what, five times out there in 6 games, and it's kind of a pattern of what happens when there's a hot hand. They get the work. And I still like Nieve. I just think that Nieve needs to pitch more inside, particularly to right-hand hitters. He likes to pound too much at outside corner. I think he throws hard. He's got a good breaking ball.
Drilled toward the gap, deep right center off the bat of Votto, and that ball is out of here. Second home run of the game for Joey Votto. Think he's an all-star? Yeah, 8-6 Cincinnati. 21 home runs for Joey Votto. And Nieve, who gave up 2 home runs in his last outing a week ago down in Puerto Rico, gives up a bomb to Votto to make it a 2-run Cincinnati lead.
I still feel strongly about Nieve's stuff, and that's just right down the middle. You see Barajas set up outside, right down the pipe. And that's impressive power from Votto.
Second multiple home run game of the year for Votto. 9 home runs allowed now in 34 innings by Nieve. I mean, he was the guy early in the season who was heavily used. 19 appearances in the first 30 games, but lately, lots of home runs.
Well, there you go. You don't want to throw it to a left-hander right down the middle and down. That's a wheelhouse. He's so strong, Votto. What a quick bat. Good kid, too.
Here's Scott Rowland, and he takes a strike. Rowland is lined to center, singled to center, and then was involved in the controversial play in the 5th inning that got Jerry Manuel ejected. First called out on a foul tip. Then the umpires got together, changed the call to a hit by pitch that forced him to go-ahead run. And the Reds then tacked on 5 more runs in that 5th inning to chase Mike Pelfrey before the Mets responded with 5 of their own in the bottom of the 5th. Now Votto's second home run has made it 8-6. And the curveball popped up. Back comes Barajas, but it's out of play. Final score in Philadelphia, the Phillies have beaten the Braves 3-1. Roy Halladay gets his 10th win. Greg Dobbs hit a 2-run homer in the 6th to put the Phillies in front. And Halladay did the rest. And another high fly ball deep to center. Pagan chasing back onto the warning track to reel it in. Boy, 1,200 feet worth of fly balls in this inning. 2 in the ballpark and 1 out. Let's check in with the studio. Chris Carlin standing by with the New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. He is a phenomenon. He's been struggling lately, but now 10-7 on the year. So the Mets have a chance to gain a game on the Braves if they can get themselves a win tonight. Gomes hits one deep to right. Back goes Frank Core, and he makes the catch. They'll make it 1,600 feet worth of fly balls in the inning. Somehow, only 1 run. It's a big ballpark. Thank goodness for Fernando Nieve. 8-6 Cincinnati, middle of the 6th. The Met record for being selected to 7 straight All-Star games, but we know Seaver's won.
Darryl? Yeah, it's got to be Darryl.
Well, Darryl was only with the Mets for 7 full seasons. Well, came up in '83.
And 6 All-Star seasons, didn't he?
7.
7, think about it. What was that question again?
Top of the batting order, Angel Pagan leads off. Mets try and get it restarted again here at the bottom of the 6th. After putting up a 5 spot in the 5th, sparked by Pagan's home run. Angel hit the home run batting right-handed, now facing Jordan Smith, who gave up hits to 2 of the 3 batters he faced in the 5th. And a foul ball.
Remember, that's the tender side now. He's swinging up on that left side of the plate. Keep an eye on that.
Although he looked awfully good swinging the bat yesterday left-handed.
So I think he's past the pain.
Rolled one off the fence in right center in Washington yesterday for a double batting left-hander. So it's a Hada on deck. 0-2 to Pagan. Low and inside 1-2. In that last inning, the first 2 runs against Travis Wood were earned. The next 2 were unearned. The run that's charged to Jordan Smith is earned against the pitcher, unearned against the team. You want a full explanation?
Go ahead. Tell me.
Ground ball past the pitcher. Phillips beyond the bag. The jumping throw is spiked. And Pagan has an infield hit. Now, Phillips probably had no chance to get him anyway. And Pagan has his second hit of the night.
Well, nice backhand, but even with a strong throw, Pagan runs way too fast.
There's a scoring rule, Rule 1016I, and the basic gist of it is if an error is made with a pitcher in the game, he gets the benefit of that error to create unearned runs, but the next pitcher does not get the benefit of that error. So it's an unearned run against the team, but an earned run against the relief pitcher. Jordan Smith, sorry. And Jordan, it's the way the rules are written.
Jordan's having a hard time getting people out so far.
Well, he's faced 4 batters and given up 3 hits. Let's get the tying run to the plate here in the bottom of the 6th. A game they once trailed by 6. Tejada is 0 for 3 tonight and 0 for his last 15. So he's trying to butt his way on. Leaves it right on the line. Votto's throw just in time. Pagan down to second, but Tejada came within inches of beating out that play. He'll get credit for a sacrifice, 3-4.
Well, this would have, because he's a right-hander, probably makes it an easier play for Joey. That ball could have, that ball probably would have gone foul. So he's able to watch here and throw the side armor and bend it around the runner. Nice play. A lefty, that'd have been a much more difficult play.
Do you think that was intended to be a sacrifice?
Yes.
Down by 2 runs in the 6th?
Yes. Why? I think with the top of the order comes with the middle of the order. They've been bunting with Tejada. You were asking in my opinion. Yes, I think it was put on.
David Wright 2 for 3, a single and a triple today. I guess it probably in deference to the fact that Rubens had a tough last 4 or 5 days swinging the bat. I guess that makes some degree of sense.
You've got the hottest hitter in the planet up right now.
So you're saying just make sure you stay out of the double play.
Well, you've still got 3 more frames of hitting, so you're going to hit through your lineup again. So peck away. Yes.
David drives one to center, but right at Stubbs for the second out.
Boy, he is just looking terrific at the plate. And again, I'm telling you, he's just getting rid of that uppercut. We have not seen that uppercut. Watch the back shoulder. Watch it stay parallel. I like the way he's loaded up in the back, too. He's had to kind of, but see his follow through, how he comes up with that back shoulder.
So it's simply a matter of him keeping his back shoulder up. That's leveling out his swing.
Well, and his follow through there. On a low ball, you got to drop your back shoulder on a low ball. But his follow through, he brings that top hand over. David's always been a good top hand hitter. That's just the best I've ever seen him. Okay, he's just.
Ike Davis grounds one out to Brandon Phillips. And that'll do it for the Mets in the bottom of the 6th. They get the leadoff man on, but can't bring Pagan around. 6 in the books at Citi Field. 8-6 Cincinnati. So our question is, do you think fans should have a say about which pitchers are selected to the All-Star game? A for yes, B for no. Text 57508 or visit sny.tv. Now the fans can only vote for the starting position players.
That's enough. But you folks, we're really interested in your opinion, so don't let me influence your decision process.
Well, they're interested in your opinion, too. Counts for a lot. You have great influence.
Yeah.
Jay Bruce with an 0-2 count. Swings and misses at the slider. And Nieve has his first strikeout.
Good slider. Down and in.
Well, after a fifth inning in which Nieve gave up 4 long fly balls, one of which cleared the fence. If we were playing this game at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, there is every chance that the Reds in the last inning would have 4 consecutive home runs.
Has there ever been 4 consecutive home runs hit in a Major League game?
Yes.
There has
been. The Dodgers did it a few years ago.
What's the record?
I believe 5. I think the Minnesota Twins, they either had 5 in a row or 5 in an inning in 66, somewhere in there.
I'm just trying to get Dave over there to Google.
Oh, I see.
He's just been sitting over there doing nothing. You can get him on the computer.
I didn't mean to get in your way. I'm sorry.
He needs to research.
Now, come on. He researched your first All-Star appearance.
I understand.
The fact Willie Stargell didn't make the team that year and still shared the MVP with you. He had a lot of catching up to do. 1-1 to Drew Stubbs, who fouls one into the mid of Barajas, and it's 1-2. Stubbs has walked twice and then delivered a 2-run single. His at bat really was the downfall of Mike Pelfrey. Strike call that Mike thought he should have gotten and didn't, and Stubbs followed with a base hit, and Mike never got another out. Swing and a miss, and that's back-to-back strikeouts for Fernando Nieve.
Well, that's what I'm talking about when I say I like Nieve's stuff. I remember he hasn't pitched in 6 days. He just needs to locate better and pitch a little bit more inside.
Now Corky Miller, who delivered a 2-run double in that 6-run fifth inning. 1 for 3 on the night. And he takes a slider for a strike. Pelfrey went 4 2/3, allowed 7 runs and 9 hits, walked 4, struck out 1. Raul Valdez retired, the only man to face him. And Nieve trying to get through his second inning, having given up 1 run on Votto's second home run of the night. And Miller fouls it back, and it's 0-2. That's 9 pitches, 8 strikes in this inning for Nieve. And Miller tries to lay off and does. The answer to your question, and Dave looked it up because, that's his job. Nobody's ever hit 5 in a row. They've hit 5 in an inning. And I was right, Minnesota did that, but it's also been done 4 times in the National League. But 4 in a row is the most ever. The last time was done by the White Sox 2 years ago. Grounded down to third, a foul ball. But that Dodger one was memorable in 2006 because they were down by, I forgot how many runs they were down in the 9th, but they hit 4 home runs in a row to tie the game in the 9th inning. And then they won it in extra innings on a home run by Nomar Garciaparra. Remember, Marlon Anderson was involved in that home run barrage. Low and away, 2-2. Not quite the same as when the Dodgers hit 3 straight homers against the Mets, and the third one was hit by the pitcher Hong-Chi Kuo. Remember that one a few years ago?
Yes, I do.
Here's the 2-2. Foul back.
That's a very serious macho mustache.
You know who that reminds me of? Remember Sal Fasano, backup catcher for the Phillies?
Yes.
He had that same kind of droopy catcher's mustache going. In there for a call, strike 3. And Nieve strikes out the side in the top of the 7th. Beautiful inning for Fernando. 7th inning stretch, 8-6 Reds. On the mound, Mets Reds coverage begins tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. only on SNY. There are your Mercedes probables for the rest of the series. We don't know who the Reds are going to pitch tomorrow. It was supposed to be Travis Wood, who pitched instead tonight. Santana coming off a fine outing in Washington. Maybe a season-turning outing his last time out. And then John Neese, who has just been marvelous, will pitch against Bronson Arroyo, who comes off a great effort in his own right his last start on Wednesday night. Well, the development of John Neese has been one of the real great stories for the Mets this year. 117 pitches his last time out. Struck out 8 batters in 7 innings, allowed just 1 run. It's been a long holiday weekend and a hot one. And a big crowd gathered here at Citi Field for the ball game and the pyrotechnics to follow on Military Appreciation Night. It's been a wild game in a lot of respects. Jerry Manuel ejected for the 2nd time this year, arguing a call reversal that turned a strikeout into a go-ahead RBI for the Reds. Mike Pelfrey melting down in a difficult 5th inning after that happened, and being knocked down in the 5th for the 2nd straight start. But the Mets rebounding with 5 runs in the bottom of the 5th. Angel Pagan with a home run, Alex Cora with a big 2-run double, and the Mets still trying to fight uphill in the 7th, down 8-6. And the Reds rookie right-hander Jordan Smith will remain on. He's gone an inning and a third, allowed a run on 3 hits. Jason Bay 1 for 3, and he takes a strike. Jason singled in a run back in the 1st inning. The Mets today scored in the 1st inning for the 7th straight game. And a line drive caught. Oh, boy. A hanging breaking ball. Bay was right on it, but rolling there to snag it for the 1st out.
Well, it's been that kind of a first half for Jason. Very inconsistent. When he hits the ball hard, that usually results. Kind of tough luck. Maybe it's a whole second half of season ahead.
There's Frank Cora, who worked out a walk in the 5th inning and scored a run, 0 for 2.
Well, I tell you what, we've seen 2 hanging sliders already from this guy.
That's hit some balls hard against Jordan Smith. Off the plate with the fastball. 2-0. Jordan Smith from American Fork, Utah. Pitched in Double-A last year as a starter. Had all sorts of injury problems, knee and elbow. So the Reds going with 2 rookies today on the mound. First Wood and now Smith, for a manager who was often accused in the past of having no patience for young players. Popped up to shallow right. And Jay Bruce settles under it. 2 out. I mean, there was a time when Dusty Baker had a reputation as a guy who would play veterans at all costs.
Right.
But now he's got a very impressive cadre of younger players and younger pitchers that has helped carry his team to first place. Here's Barajas, who had a run-scoring hit to greet Jordan Smith when he came on in the 5th inning. And the first-time All-Star Arthur Rhodes is up in the bullpen for Cincinnati.
Well, one thing about Arthur's always in shape, and he's always been a hard thrower.
Last year, Tim Wakefield became the oldest ever first-time All-Star. This year, Arthur Rhodes will be the 3rd oldest first-time All-Star at age 40.
Let's not forget about who the general manager of this ball club is, Gary, and why this club now has a whole new youthful look. We're talking about Walt Jocketty, who came over here from St. Louis Cardinals, and there he is right there. He's successful with St. Louis, and he's doing it over there in Cincinnati right now.
Competing against his old team for the lead in the NL Central. And they've been jockeying back and forth for the last 2 months, and they continue jockeying for another 2 or so. Two and 1 to Barajas, who has 11 home runs this year, but has gone 5 weeks without one. And he lines one at the shortstop. Cabrera to end the inning. So 2 line drive outs helped Jordan Smith to a 1-2-3 inning. We go to the 8th, 8-6 Cincinnati. Reds will have a pinch hitter coming up, leading off in the 8th. Let's check in with Kevin.
You guys were talking about the GM of the Reds, Walt Jocketty, and the younger players, but I was talking Jockey today, and he really was raving about Scott Rowland. He said, we were really looking for someone for our younger players to follow, and Rowland really is a perfect guy. He doesn't say much. He works hard. His attitude is tremendous, and people follow that. He compared him to, he said, well, he's kind of like our John Wayne, our Clint Eastwood. When he talks, people really listen, didn't say much. But he felt that Orlando Cabrera has been the perfect complement because he leads in a totally different way. He's the fun, vocal, bounce-off-the-wall guy. He thinks that pair has really made a huge difference, guys.
Well, all you have to do is look at Orlando Cabrera's record. He wins wherever he goes. And Scott Rowland has victories in his background, too. Miguel Cairo, the pinch hitter. The standings in the NL Central. Reds in first place, the latest they have been since 1999. Cairo lines one to left, but right at bay for the first out. That's 6 in a row retired by Nieve in relief. Let's check in with Chris Carlin. He's standing by for a New York State Smokers quit line game break. All right, thanks, Chris. Here's Brandon Phillips, who's 1 for 4 on the night, singled leading off the 6-run 5th inning for the Reds. Well, the Mets got into the Cincinnati bullpen in the 5th inning, but were unable to take advantage in the 6th and 7th. Now they're going to face the tough part of the Cincinnati pen, with Rhodes getting ready for the 8th, and then Francisco Cordero for the 9th.
Well, Cordero's not having. He's got 22 saves. You can't, nothing to sneeze at. But the ERA is over 4.
Nieve behind 2-0, and Phillips with a big cut fouls it back.
Oh boy, right down Broadway. Got away with one there. Big rip from Phillips. Look at this. Came out of his shoes right here. Big cut.
Ground ball toward the middle. Tejada runs it down. Boy, he showed great range at shortstop the last few days.
Well, that is his position. And of course, he's not going to get much of an opportunity with the all-star shortstop Jose Reyes in the same uniform. But he's going to find playing time. He's done an outstanding job at second base, filling in for Castillo.
So 2 out of the inning. And after the rough beginning for Nieve, giving up the Votto home run, he's now settled in to retire 7 in a row. Orlando Cabrera 1 for 3. He was the first man Nieve faced when he came on in the 6th, and they sent Pagan back on the warning track in center. Cabrera's got occasional power. The Mets found that out earlier this year when Cabrera hit a walk-off home run against the Mets in the series finale in Cincinnati. The Reds have 10 hits today. Every starter, including the pitcher, has had at least one. Pedro Feliciano up in the Mets bullpen. Of course. Does a day go by when he's not? He might pitch in 100 games this year.
He might.
Here's the 0-2 in the dirt. Well, Mike Marshall did it back in the day.
Mike Marshall wanted to pitch every day. And he was always, I remember him, never wore sleeves. No matter how he pitched up in Montreal, you would call. Be freezing in April and he'd be out there with no sleeves.
Won a Cy Young for the Dodgers in 1974, pitching in 106 games. Still a record. Cora to his right, gets in front of it. And a 1-2-3 inning for Fernando Nieve. Nice job by Fernando, retiring 8 in a row. Mets need to set to hitting in the bottom of the 8th.
91 with Baltimore. Had Tommy John surgery and 07, missed the whole season. And boy, he just came his comeback. 08, so kind of season 08, but limited time coming off that surgery. But the Reds last year, he was terrific. Always a hard thrower.
Alex Cora, left-hand batter, will lead off against Rhodes. And with Fernando Tatis now on the disabled list, the Mets' right-handed bench is very limited. So Josh Tolley, a left-hand hitter, has come out on deck to pinch hit. Logan Andrusik is up in the Cincinnati bullpen in case the Mets have a right-handed bat that Dusty Baker needs to get out here in the 8th. Frankie Rodriguez getting set for a potential save chance in the 9th if the Mets can rally. Alex Cora's had another good day at the plate. 2 for 2. He's been hit by a pitch, single to center, and then double to right center in the 5th to drive in 2 runs and get the Mets within 1. There's Tolley on deck. It'll be his first at bat against the left-hand pitcher since being called up. And Cora chases the slider, and it's 0-2. Starter Travis Wood went 4 2/3, allowed 5 runs, 3 earned on 6 hits, doesn't qualify for the win. Jordan Smith then went 2 1/3 in relief, allowed a run on 3 hits, so he might well get the win if the Reds hang on. Right back to Rhodes, catches it with a snow cone, 1 away. So 1 out and nobody on. Well, here are your all-star pitchers, and things are a little different this year in that normally you only have starters and closers selected for the All-Star game, but the National League took 2 setup men this year, not just Rhodes, but Evan Meek, the lone All-Star for the Pirates, who's having an unbelievable year. And the American League took a setup man, too, the lefty Matt Thornton from the White Sox.
Well, I'm glad that I see a lot of starters in there. I mean, I think the pitching has come back. I mean, how can you leave Jimenez off? Hudson, how about Hudson bouncing back off of surgery? What a year he's having for the Bravos.
So here's Tolley, who's 5 for 9 since being called up. And he just gets out of the way. 1-0. Josh was in the initial starting lineup tonight. But then when the Reds made a late change in starting pitchers due to Aaron Harang's back spasms, and they put a lefty out there, Tolley was scratched.
Tolley at his bat here. Watch his grip. Look how much he's choked up. That's a good 2-inch choke up right there.
A lot of balls to center and to left field, but we saw him turn on a ball Saturday in Washington and almost hit his first big league home run. Hit it right to the base of the fence in right field. Angel Pagan's already homered tonight. He's on deck. Tolley grounds 1 out for Phillips. And Rhodes has retired the 2 left-handed batters here in the 8th. Let's bring you the results of our Toyota Text Poll. We asked you whether the fans should be able to vote for pitchers, and of course you all want to vote for pitchers. Why wouldn't you? Everybody wants the vote. People demonstrated for years for the vote.
You can't have everything in life. You know that. Just be satisfied with the starting lineup. All right? Take a chill pill.
Next thing you know, fans are going to want to make pitching changes. Pedro Feliciano up in the bullpen. Here's Pagan, 2 for 4 tonight, including his 5th home run of the year, and he came batting right-handed in the 5th inning. Started the Mets' 5-run 5th after the Reds had put up a 6th spot in the top of that inning. Well, things have stabilized, and the Reds maintaining an 8-6 lead. Mets down to their final 4 outs. Pagan hits one to shallow right. On comes Jay Bruce to call. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Arthur Rhodes in the bottom of the 8th. On to the 9th we go. 8-6 Cincinnati. Continues tomorrow night at 7:10 p.m. Get the best seats direct from the Mets at Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX. There's a ball game tonight, so that means Pedro Feliciano is in.
Well, you said it, Gary. He's pushing close to 50 games now in this first half. But we are officially beyond the first half mark, are we not?
We are. We're into the second half now.
Hallelujah.
That's the half after the first half.
Second half's what it's all about.
Joey Votto's had a big night tonight. Homered over the center field fence in the first and then drilled one over the right center field fence in the 6th. Now has 21 home runs for the year. Fights that one off, and it's 0-2. Votto with 21 homers, 59 RBIs, leading the league in on base and slugging percentage with this game today, and still has to survive the final vote to get to the All-Star game.
Oh, how did he swing at that one? Here's the first homer. Second pitch. Same spot. Just about down over the middle.
I guess you're not supposed to pitch him.
I think that is the spot that you don't want to pitch Mr. Votto.
Votto does have a 3 home run game in his career. He did that 2 years ago against the Cubs. Slider will outside. Well, Feliciano easily ahead on the appearance list, and he faces a lot more batters now than Peter Moylan does. And Votto drills another one deep right field down the line, and it's a foul ball.
Wow.
Within inches of his 3rd home run of the night.
Down again, Garrett. Yeah, nice short swing. Not a whole lot of wasted motion. You look at Francisco Cordero, the closer for the Reds.
Now Barajas moves away, and it's hit away. Base hit down the left field line. Votto heads for second. Base throw arrives too late, and Votto has his 3rd extra base hit of the night. He's putting on a show.
This is some kind of hitting right here. Little inside out. That's how you get it done.
I said it yesterday. I'll say it again. Right now, he's the front runner for MVP in the National League. And yet he's not going to the All-Star game, at least at the moment. It's just nuts.
It is.
Here's Scott Rowland.
It's a pretty good team, this Red team.
Well, they can hit. Lead the league in homers, lead the league in batting average, lead the league in runs scored. And, not all of it is a product of their home ballpark.
Well, this guy's made a big difference right here. A healthy Scott Rowland.
He drove in the go-ahead run in this game on a controversial play in the 5th inning. Bases loaded, nobody out in a tie game. Home plate umpire Jerry Meals ruled that Rowland foul-tipped one and was struck out. Ball held by Barajas. They discussed it and changed the call to a hit batsman that forced in the go-ahead run that led to Jerry Manuel's ejection. Out to right field, tagging at second. Votto, will he challenge Francoeur? He's going to try it. Here comes the throw by Frenchie across the diamond, and he's out by a mile. By a mile! Don't test that, man. 7th outfield assist of the year for Francoeur.
Look how he comes in and gets his momentum coming forward. And you know what? You're Votto, you got to try to do this. You got to try to force it. That's just an incredible throw.
Now, there's no better outfield arm anywhere in baseball right now. And he loves to throw people out. He hasn't been getting many chances because not many people have been testing him. Well, Votto was a dead duck. So now 2 out and nobody on. And Johnny Gomes, the batter. Gomes is 1 for 4. And he yanks one toward his own dugout.
What a throw. Can we see that throw again, guys? Just for the heck of it.
You love great defense, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, that's impressive. That's why you always want your strongest arm in right field. I mean, he had to come around, circle that ball, and get the momentum forward. No wasted motion. Look at this, on a fly.
Good job by David coming off the bench to prevent the bounce. Well, he probably won't try that the next time.
Well, the 2-run lead, let's force it. Force the issue. Maybe not.
See what happens from here. Nets will have 2, 3, and 4 in their order coming up in the bottom of the ninth. Gomes pulls one foul, and it's 1-2. Tejada right and Davis 2 up. And still have Chris Carter left on the bench as a left-handed pinch hitter. In case they wanted to bat for Tejada, who has been struggling. course, you can only pinch hit Carter for Tejada if you could put Reyes in the game. And Jerry said before the game today that in an emergency that Reyes could probably play the field. One way or another, you got to get somebody on ahead of your big hitters to have a chance at the bottom of the ninth. One and two to Gomes, a power hitter. Tapped off the glove of Feliciano right to Tejada, and he guns him down to end the inning. Nice redirect. 1-6-3. Defense, the theme of the inning. Jeff Francour's 7th outfield assist of the year. Keeps it a 2-run game as we go to the bottom of the ninth. Tonight after the postgame and at 1 a.m. catch the only New York sports news and highlights show in town. Amari Stoudemire coming to the Knicks. Carmelo Anthony as he's staying in Denver. And Roy Halladay with the big complete game performance against the Braves tonight. All on Geico Sports Night tonight after the postgame and at 1 a.m. right here on SNY. Double switch for the Reds. That's Lance Nix, not Jay Bruce, in left field. Nix will bat ninth. And on to pitch and hit in Gomes' spot is Francisco Cordero.
34-year-old Francisco Cordero. You see his numbers. Probably not happy with the earned run average, but 22 out of 27 save opportunities.
Ruben Tejada will stand to bat for himself, and he takes ball one. Tejada 0 for 3 in a sacrifice tonight. Hitless in his last 15 at-bats. David Wright and Ike Davis to follow here in the last of the ninth. And Tejada takes wide, and it's 2-0.
You got to have him taken here.
9 straight Mets have been retired by the Cincinnati bullpen. Jordan Smith and Arthur Rhodes. And now Cordero trying to finish the deal. There's a fastball for a strike, 2-1. The Mets were down 7-1, scored 5 runs in the 5th inning, but they've been held off the board since. Joey Votto's second home run made it 8-6 in the 6th, and it's stayed that way since. That's off the plate, and it's 3-1 to Tejada. 35-year-old Francisco Cordero. 22 saves and 27 chances. Taking all the way, 3-2.
Well, he's going to pour in a fastball here with Wright, Davis, and Bailey coming up. Does not want a leadoff walk to Tejada.
On 3-2, Rubin swings and grounds one right to Brandon Phillips. 1 out in the last of the ninth. 10 straight Mets retired. David Wright's been hitting the ball hard all night long. A single, a triple. Last time up, a bullet line drive to center that was caught. He's 2 for 4. Wright in his career against Cordero, 2 for 2 with a home run. Mets just need a base runner any way they can get one to have a chance. You got Ike Davis and all his power waiting on deck. And Wright takes one low and away, ball 1. Cordero's converted his last 5 save opportunities. It's his first outing in 4 days. One and one to Wright.
He's still throwing hard, Cordero. And he was kind of a guy over in Texas that was saving all tons of games and no one ever knew about it.
That's because Texas was never winning anything.
Exactly.
And neither were the Reds the last 2 years, but he had a great season for them last year. Kind of an obscurity. This year, there's no more obscurity for the Reds. They are front and center, leading in the National League Central. Two and one to David Wright. And it's off the plate with a fastball, ball 3. So for the second straight hitter, Cordero's fallen behind 3-1.
He's got to take a shot here because David hits a home run. It's not going to beat him.
3-1. Bounced foul off his leg, and it's 3-2. David has been swinging a consistently hot bat for 5 weeks. Hitting over .410 since the 30th of May.
he's not going to compete in the home run hitting contest, I hope.
No. I think it was one and done. Besides, LaDuca's not coming out of retirement. Ooh, chased the pitch off the plate. Remember, LaDuca was his pitcher?
Yes.
I think Paulie got tired. Again, the 3-2. Popped it up foul. That'll go out of play. And David hangs in there. J-Rod hoping for a chance in the 10th. 3-2. Ball 4. And the Mets will get the tying run to bat against Cordero here in the ninth. Ike Davis tonight, 1 for 3. A single, a walk. Reached on an error to drive in a run in the 5th and then grounded out his last time up.
Those rally glasses?
That's what they are. Rally caps, rally glasses. Ike with 10 home runs this year. He's 0 for 2 against Francisco Cordero.
Good cut. That's it. Jump on that first pitch fastball. Big rip.
Cordero has given up 4 home runs this year in 38 innings. Off the plate with the fastball, 1-1. Jason Bay on deck.
I think the philosophy here is it's a big ballpark. I'm going to stay away. You want to try to hit it out, pull it, or just try to do it on the outside corner.
And now it's 2-1. Well, he's used to playing in a bandbox in Cincinnati where you can hit it out to all fields.
But you got to respect Davis's power. We know he's got pop. 10 home runs.
Popped up, shallow left, long run for anybody. Nick's coming in, out goes Rowland. Catch! A big play by Scott Rowland coming down over his shoulder on a very dangerous looking pop-up for the second out.
How about this catch? Where's the left fielder? I know he's playing D, but I've never seen a third baseman go out this far in my life. For a pop-up.
Normally, if anybody's going to get it, it's going to be the shortstop. But Rowland, a Gold Glover, makes a tremendous play for the second out.
That is big league right there.
So the Mets are down to their final out of the night with Jason Bay coming up. Jason, 1 for 4, drove home a run with a first inning single. Hit a bullet his last time up that Rowland caught. And a check swing foul ball, 0-1. Bay is 0 for 4 in his career against Francisco Cordero. The Mets are 11-2 this year in series openers at home, but they're down to their final out of this one, trailing 8-6. And Bay hits one in the air to left field. Nick's playing back on the warning track. He's got a long way to come, and he makes the catch, and the ball game is over. Well, the Mets were down by 6. They rallied with 5 in the 5th, but they could not get a hit after the 6th inning. And the Mets fall 2 runs short as the Reds take the opener of the series 8-6.
Well, as advertised, these Reds, they can hit, and they showed that. Also, they play defense, and they showed that tonight. This was a real hard-fought game. And, of course, that one call, the umpires are getting booed on the way out here, Gary.
Well, we had a reversal of a call that changed the game in the 5th inning. The game was tied. The bases were loaded. A strikeout was called on Rowland. It was reversed to a hit batsman to force in the go-ahead run, and the Reds never trailed after that as Mike Pelfrey melted down in that 5th inning and wound up giving up a 6th spot that ultimately